this yet, and they're just looking at that right now. And then I'm going to start recording for the backup. Um, right before we start.
Even my phone like popped up with YouTube being like, "Oh, this is live."
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome. Hit that light, or do I have it?
Oh,
Did I
it's right
drop
here.
it? Oh, I'm blind. That shouldn't be surprising. All right, you want to hit this one more time?
No, I'm good. If I get too stoned, I won't be able to talk.
Right on. All right, let me make sure my phone's off. We're good to go.
Sweet.
Oh, let me just double check this real quick. There we go. All right. All right, boom, we're live, bud.
Good song, man.
Eric Vobejda.
What's up, dude?
It's so good to meet you, finally and
You
formally.
too.
I
Yeah,
mean, we've
man.
been hanging out for an hour, but
Yeah.
never met you before.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Nice to meet you too, man.
you're a wacky guy.
Yeah.
I dig the cut of your jib, my friend. You're you're one of the goofiest motherfuckers I've seen in a while.
On the show or what?
On social media, your pictures online, your lifestyle, you seem like a pretty cool cat, man. You
Thanks,
seem pretty
man.
goofy, and you don't take yourself too seriously, which is always something I'm a fan of, is fucking the weirdos in this world, because
Yeah.
that's what makes us that's what makes us special. You know, when we try to be cool and fit in, it means nothing.
When you go back on your like life on like Facebook memories and you see stuff that you just did when you were a angsty teen,
Yeah.
just a shithead, man. You know, like I go back and delete all that stuff and hide it. I'm like, why? I mean, you know, back then Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff wasn't like, it didn't matter for your career and
Right.
stuff like that. You know, I mean,
Yep.
now it's a whole different deal.
All right. So I just wanted to get rid of that screen so we're not distracted here, but we do have chat up. So if you got to go to the bathroom or whatever, I'll chat with these guys in chat, and same thing. If,
I'll just
if
pee
I
my
got to take a
pants,
leak or
so,
something,
yeah,
you can
yeah.
jump in there, and because that is live, we
Yeah.
can see you guys if you type in here, but we don't usually interact with them.
Yeah.
Especially if we get a troll, then I'll just shut that shit down.
Yeah.
I'll just shut it off. Like, we're not doing that. We did that once. It didn't go well.
You had to shut the whole thing down?
No, the chat down.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
started muting and blocking people, like
Yeah.
block.
Anytime I watch one of those, that I usually turn that off unless it's somebody I know and I need to like
Fuck with them.
talk to them or whatever. Like Psycho Stick today, you know, like I threw out a call out to them, like, "What's up, dudes? You know, let's fucking tour next year, man." You know, like
Yeah.
anytime, you know that, it's been one of those deals. So
I think I got to turn your mic up, or here, bring that just a touch closer to you.
I can hear myself fine.
There
but
you go.
Okay.
I'm looking at those meter levels. That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds fine to them, but
Sure.
just in case, just not. But yeah, dude. So for people who don't really know who you are, explain what you do, man.
Yeah. So I am an active guitar player. I guess that would be the best way to describe myself. Been in the Twin Cities circuit since 2013, 12, maybe 12, 13, but playing in the music scene prior to that. I mean, I've been doing just guitar stuff since, I was 13, I guess, playing in different bands. And
So what was
Think so.
what was the first gig you got into? What was your entrance into the scene, more than just plucking at home?
in Minneapolis scene,
Just in general.
Yeah,
What
I
was
mean-
your first band?
my first band was with a couple high school buddies, and we I had this guitar teacher who's Johnny Lang's guitar teacher,
Oh yeah.
and he taught me all this stuff, and he taught me how to like record the first stuff on like what was it, PCM recorder, like the free, you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember what it was, but I wrote a really, really shitty song and never lived it down with a bunch of my buddies,
Sure.
and kind of was the best way to put it is like I listened to Metallica and Ozzy and everything, and that's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know if I wanted to be a singer or a guitar player, but definitely took the route of guitar playing because I'm not a singer, you know. But anyways, yeah.
Most of us aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the ones of us that think we are.
Popular people, man. Like, seriously, look at it. I mean, you look at most singers aren't good.
That's the thing.
You know,
even the ones that are actually doing it, most of them still aren't actually good singers, or even they're not even singers.
Not at all. You know. And anyways, so did that. Then like I discovered Audioslave and the Foo Fighters and all that stuff, and wanted to do stuff that I guess made money.
Sure.
Yeah. So I did that. Did a bunch of different bands in high school. I had one band we had with a female singer called Maybe Saints when I was probably 18 till I was 21, and we got to do a bunch of cool gigs. You know,
and these were all your first group of bands up in Brainerd, where you grew up.
Yep.
So when did you come down to the cities?
I came to the cities in 2012-ish, 2013, somewhere around there, and I had a really like toxic situation up in the Baxter Brainerd area that I like literally forced myself out of the town and moved to Rochester, Minnesota. And I moved to Rochester for my job at the time, and I got the itch like instantly because I stopped playing music like all of a sudden for like a year, you know, and went to the local music store and had them order me what is my now stolen Gibson SG Cream. So if anybody finds Cream, it's a orange SG that got stolen a few years back. Give it back to me, please. Anyways, no. So then I wanted to start a band, so I started doing like a punk rock band down in Rochester, and it just did not work at all. Like there was no clicking with the people. And I had the PA system, and I had the Marshall half stack, and the guitars, and the microphones, and the cables, and all the shit ready to go. And I just ended up going to the cities basically every single weekend when I lived in Rochester. And I'm like, why am I doing this at this point if I'm not just gonna
because Rochester is like an hour or 2 hour drive, isn't it?
It's about an hour and a half from here. Yeah,
right.
Hour and 20 maybe. You know,
yeah.
And yeah, so I had enough of that, I guess, and came to the cities, and I tried out for a band on bass. So I used to work for Best Buy, and I they had the musical instruments department at a certain point.
I remember.
And I used the discount very heavily when I did, and it was awesome. You know,
right.
So I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I bought a bass, and I bought like a jazz bass, and I tried out for this like funk band, like with a bunch of white dudes, and I thought it was cool. The music was great. It was what
was the name of the band?
The Reckless. It was
that's a cool name too.
It's a cool band name, yeah. The Pretty Reckless, Taylor Momsen's band, like that's what they originally wanted to be, but they couldn't because that was already like basically taken. So that was like my first thing. I tried out bass in this band, and I'm not a bass player. I mean, I'm a guitar player, but there's guitar players that try to play bass, and I
explain to people what that means, because I've talked about this previously on the podcast, so I don't need to keep running my mouth about the same thing. But what is the difference between a bassist and a guitar player who plays bass?
Well, they're both worthless, for example. No, but no. Bass players follow the drum beats, they follow the kick, they keep the time, they keep the band, the backbone of the band. You know, right. I mean, it's the bottom end. Guitar players are high end, basses are low end. You know, I mean, that's just what you have to do to have a full choreographed band, I guess. You know, and some bass players that are originally guitar players, you know, they just kind of play rhythm guitar on bass, and it's not the same, you know. Right. So anyway, so I did that, didn't get the gig, and that was fine. I wasn't like butthurt or anything about it, but I did the whole Craigslist thing and kind of pulled the Ozzy Osbourne, which is his birthday today, I believe, actually. So because I shared a thing about him. But anyways, his original thing with Black Sabbath was he posted you know, an ad on the wall in Birmingham or whatever and said, looking for a gig, I got a PA system. And that's exactly what I did. And I posted that on Craigslist, and I said, you know, I like Queens of the Stone Age and all these other bands and stuff like that. And the first person that replied to me was Jason Tuthill, who's the singer of Via. So I think I don't know if this is correct, but like he said something like 10 or 20 guitar players came through to try out for Via, and I was the last one because I got the gig. So, you know,
dude, that shit fucking spanks, bro.
Mhm.
Like, I straight up, we were talking, you hit me up, you know, to come on the podcast, and I said something like, yeah, so tell me more about yourself, like what bands have you been in and shit, like I want to check out some of your shit and blah 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 blah. And you sent me, you're like, well, I'm in Flip and we'll get to that in a little bit here, which I was like, oh, that's cool. You guys, that fucking band was like huge a while back. And you sent me this, it was the second band, Via, and I clicked that shit. Should we just play it for people?
Yeah, I mean, I said I was like the most known for, I guess, at this
dude.
point. At this point,
this
you know,
shit fucking spanks, you guys. Let me see if I can find it real quick, and we'll pull it up here. Wow, I've totally cut my head off here. That's fine. We're gonna go like that, and let's see what we got here. Let's get out of here. We'll just close this. I don't actually need that open anymore. What's the easiest? Like, should I just search the name of that song?
Which one did I send you?
You guys shot like an official music video for it.
Get Control is what it was called. Yeah.
So I'll just go like this.
We shot this video in the upstairs green room at the Myth nightclub.
No shit.
Yep.
All right.
So
let's do this. Yep, that's on. They should be able to hear it right out of the gate. Yep.
Like I'm out of control. So I grab the next notes, do as I'm told. I got this feeling like I'm out of control. Should I stop their agenda? No, no. Cause there's a grip on the sides of my throat. Telling me I can breathe, just let go. Can't you see that I'm out of control? Shoving their agenda down every hole. Give me pills to get control, yeah. Give me pills to shut me up. All the things society wants of me, we all know I ain't never ever gonna be. And all the things that they push onto me, we know I won't amount to anything. Give me pills to get control, yeah. Give me pills to stop the noise. And give me pills to shut me up, yeah. Shut me up, sunlight. I don't wanna be silent. I don't wanna be silent. Shut me up. Shut me
I'm taking that job. I will physically fight other people for that job.
Give me pills to get control, yeah.
This dude is
Give me pills to stop the noise. Let me breathe, let me go. Shut me up, shut me up.
I just ended up doing my own thing every night. Fuck yeah. Oh, dude, shit spanks, bro. I
Thanks,
love
man.
it.
Thank
I
you.
fucking love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, now that people have kind of caught up and they see what you're all about, we can talk about whatever we want now.
Yeah,
now
man.
that people kind of understand, and you'll be on again, dude. So we'll get into whatever we want. And if you guys got any questions, I'll try to work them in here. Vice versa. So
Wally actually did that.
Wally recorded that?
Oh, the whole record. Yep.
No shit.
Yep.
Those guys. I love those guys, dude.
Yeah.
So did you do that at F5?
We did the whole record at F5. Yes. And which is at the time, I mean, I've lived in Northeast a long time, and I live in the Heights now, and it like F5 is only like a mile away, so
it's 5 minutes from here.
Yeah, I know, it's awesome.
He's not there anymore though.
No, he's not. No.
Post riots,
Yep.
they got looted, which
Yep.
sucks, dude. How did anybody even know that was there? It's like
It's really underground, man.
Yeah,
you
so
wouldn't
well
expect
hidden.
any
Somebody,
of that. So.
somebody knew. Somebody in the circle was like, dude, let's go hit fucking that studio.
Yeah. Like the Adam Jones guitars, man. Like I sell guitars, and that was a big thing in the guitar world, what was it? Maybe 9 or 12 Adam Jones signature Les Paul guitars get stolen. That's like $90,000 worth of instruments, Somebody knew to hop on that truck and grab that pallet, man. It's just, that's why you gotta, I guess, keep to yourself on some things, really, which fucking, it's hard to do, when you're trying to do things,
So you recorded that with Wally. When did you actually record that?
We recorded the record in December of 2016 through the first couple months of 2017. And we were under a record label at the time, and we were supposed to be, that was our second record. We signed a 3 deal, and we ran into a situation where we couldn't keep paying for PR and all this stuff for the record to come out, because my idea was to have, and all of our ideas, so not completely mine, but 7/7/17, because I was born on the 7th, I was married on the 7th, like 7's my number, and
dude,
so
you're number 43.
Yeah.
4 plus 3 is 7.
Fantastic. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, 7/7/17, I wanted the record to come out more than anything, So we did. We released it. We cut ties with our label literally to release it in that time, because we had the date.
Who were you
booked,
signed to?
We were signed to Pavement Entertainment out of Illinois.
Are they an affiliate? What do you call that when it's like a baby of a bigger, God, I forget the name of it. Not an affiliate, but like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we were technically like not artist, we were like the second artist roster. There was the big roster and then the second one, which essentially what these labels are, not to, piss them off or anything, but you get a band like Via or whatever band, that nobody's heard of. They basically say you have a retainer and you give them money. What that money does is then goes into a pool, pays whoever kind of puts you on the website and helps you push out this and PR and stuff. And in our first record, it actually did nothing but great things for Via, which was awesome. But when it came into the second record, so we're paying out of pocket for the record, and then it comes to PR, putting it on Revolver magazine, put it in all the different radio stations that were playing the first record, and then going into the second record, it just didn't make any sense anymore for us to keep on doing the thing. So we released it independently. We did the whole, release it CD baby, and Spotify, I guess, kind of started being a thing, but that was a thing. We could never get that name even on Spotify,
because there's too many other artists.
Yeah, like so. In India, there's literally like this woman out there named Via, same thing, capital letters, and she's got like a gazillion people. And the thing on the Via Facebook page or like our email, we get like random dudes, and on Instagram, like trying to be like, when can we meet up? When can we have sex? Like sending just obscure things because they think that we're them, So, and that's just like a phrase you can use for anything, I mean, Via, So, I mean, it was just one of those things like.
So where'd that silly ass band name come from? Because as good as it is in every way, because even though it's a little ambiguous whether you say via or via, it doesn't really matter. It's easy to spell. It's easy to remember. All those things are great.
Yeah.
But it's so simple that it's so common that. So how did you guys end up with that silly ass name?
Yeah. So Jason, the singer, he put, and he's the creator and founder. He created the name just like, I want to have something be like an energy symbol, like basically something that you can see and that's it. You know, I mean, there is somewhat acronyms that we kind of make fun of that we do, like very important assholes or vulgar, inconsiderate assholes, you know? So, I mean, there's like, I've gone on stage saying we're vulgar, inconsiderate assholes before and stuff, but I mean, he kind of thought of the name as just like it's like an energy symbol. I mean, like he could probably rephrase it better than me, but that's where it kind of came from. And he came up with the name in like 2011 before we even like fully became a band, because he already was starting the band before I came in, and I was kind of the final piece.
And that's the singer and other guitar player?
Yes.
Right on. So you were the second dude to join the band?
No, there was an original bass player and original drummer. I was kind of, I guess, the fourth member at that point, but I'm the only second standing founding member with Jason, you know, now that times have gone by. You know,
so the current bass player and the current drummer are not the original
Not
dudes.
the originals, no.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How'd you find those guys? The guys you're jamming with now?
So Sam, who plays bass with us, he it's kind of funny. We our drummer at the time, his name is Ben. He knew this dude, and they played Ben Leff.
Okay.
And he played in different bands with this other dude, Sam. And we had no idea who it was, Jason and I. So we got to play, you know, the company Save, like they basically like do the suicide awareness like things.
I think
basically,
so, yeah.
So they like, you know, it's a big organization and stuff. So we got with them and got to do a tribute concert to raise awareness for, you know, suicide victims, to try to, you know, raise money and give that money to people that, you know, are in help. And we did a concert at the Nomad, and we had like 12 bands, like an all day thing, us being on one of them. And it was the same day Kurt Cobain died and Lane Staley died, because they did, I believe, on the same day or the next day after, which happened to be the same exact day that I actually joined the band as well too.
Oh shit.
It's kind of weird, I guess. But anyways, we played this gig, and this other band that was on the bill had Sam Stark playing bass in one of these bands. And at the time, I don't think we were super like happy with our bass player. I mean, like, we love that dude, but it just wasn't working basically. And I kind of drunkenly been like, dude, you should be our bass player, you're sick, you know? And it was as simple as that. He showed up at the next thing and then recorded the first record with us, you know?
When you say it wasn't working with the other guy, was it personality issues like drive, discipline, or was he just not physically hacking it on his instrument?
I'd hate to say all the above, but it probably has some of that. I mean, I really like Justin a lot.
Like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think we as a band worked, you know. It was just as simple as that, you know. I mean, like, this band always kind of has gone for image a little bit, you know, and angst and all that shit, and it just didn't, you know. It was one of those things. I think even in the studio, because he started recording our first record with us, and I think it just, like, with the producer and everything, he was like, "No, this isn't going to work." You know?
So this record that we played, that's your second record.
That's our second record. Yeah.
Who recorded the first one?
Brian Mingy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
He's a really cool dude. He's really well known from the mixing board side, you know, at a lot of big festivals.
Okay.
You know,
isn't it so weird though how like small and incestual our scene is, but there's entire, like, we never knew each other.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, we never played a show together.
I thought that same thing, man. You know,
like, we've never hung out in the same room until tonight.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool to do it on the podcast, because honestly, like, if we would have just ran into each other at a show, who knows if we'd even get along, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You network, you talk, fucking, dude, that is fucking wild. That is the craziest shit. Did you watch the podcast with Vince?
Vince who?
Ebert's just like 2-3 episodes ago.
No, I didn't watch that one yet. Sorry.
So my boy Patrick, if you're watching, shout out to Patrick. He used to be the dude on 93X who did like the Loud and Local stuff. And we were joking around, and I was like, yeah, dude, if I come out to LA, can you hook me up with some people to interview? And he was like, yeah, those guys.
The Deftones?
And I was like, no shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you? Or he did? Or,
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to get out there. You know? Yeah. But, and I don't know how I feel about going to literally fucking escape from LA. And, you know what I mean? During COVID. It's like, I may not get out. The way that city's locked down.
Yeah.
I assume it's LA. I don't think he's in LA, though. I think he's somewhere like San Bernardino or something like that.
I know Chino's in Oregon.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the other guys are, I think most of them are scattered, actually, you know.
Crazy.
Because they get sick of LA, like a lot of those big, you know, artists do, you know. It's just like, you do it, and it's cool and all, but I love it there. I love it there. My wife and I, we went vacation on our, like, first vacation together there, and it was fun. Gone to Nam there a million times, and
it's so wild how California has so many more freedoms than us and also so many less freedoms than us all at the same time.
What do you mean freedoms, I guess?
So like, you know, weed's been legal out there for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
Like the drug culture out there, pretty chill, you know, Northern California, like all kinds of shit going on, right? And then no guns, basically. Like it's so hard to get a gun out there. Like they have all these extra, you know, because I'm a Midwest kid, you know, so like we're pro-gun out here.
Yeah.
You know, it's a completely different story. And like just the way they think about certain things. And like I said, they're super ahead of the curve on most things. And then they were the first one to take away smoking in bars.
Yeah.
You know, and they led the way in the entire country for that. And it's like, Jesus Christ. I think New York City did it first, but I think California was the first state.
I remember when it happened very well. I worked in the restaurant industry when you could smoke in it, you know. And
I remember shows went from easily us getting 500 to 800 people at every single show, every local show, to immediately the next weekend there being 250 to 300.
Just because of smoking?
Just because of smoking. It took a long time for us to build it back before people were like figured out how to go out without being able to smoke at will.
And now it's fucking weird, you know, if you see it. Like we were on tour a couple years back, and we were in PA, we were in Pennsylvania. We were at Gettysburg, and we played this place called Zippers. And I remember, like, I took a photo of it. I'm like, the first thing that said on the door, "This is a smoking establishment." You know, I'm like, fucking weird, you know. So yeah, I mean that night's a whole nother story, but you know.
Did you ever play at the Rock nightclub?
Sure did. Yeah. I played the Rock and, you know, obviously the Doghouse. You know,
Brian, the old owner of the Rock, was a genius because he figured out right away, as soon as they passed that smoking ban, there's a stipulation in the law that said performers, and it still exists today.
Yeah.
Performers are still allowed to smoke as part of the performance, right?
Yep.
So Brian, being the genius that he was like posted signs that said, by entering this show, you are a performer, right?
Yeah.
Didn't have to give people permission to smoke, just put that up. Like, you're a part of the show, right? And, and then we just kind of told people once they were in. It was like, because you'd walk in and people are smoking, and you're like, how are we getting away with this?
Yeah.
And they're like, we're all performers tonight, bud. Didn't you see the sign? It's fucking genius. Yeah. And then the governors caught on right away, because it caught on like wildfire. It spread across the state immediately, right? And the governor or whoever's in charge of making those adjustments to those laws, they put on stage in the verbiage
only.
Like, Dave Chappelle can still do it. You and I could go up there during a show and burn a cig while we're jamming, just like Slash. That's still perfectly legal. But we can't rope a dope and pretend everyone in the audience is actually part of our show like it's a fucking what are those old dancing things? A flash mob? Right? Like everyone.
You can't put everybody in the performance anymore. You know, that's especially now. You know, right. Like, you know, it's a whole different world with what now is, you know, especially us going into this next phase of, you know, live concerts and stuff like that.
Yeah, what are you guys doing? So how are you guys handling the COVID shit? Obviously, it's been a bitch for everyone. Obviously, you're probably not touring. But But are you guys trying to pivot and figure out how to do shit online? I don't know what the fuck is up with that lighter, bro. That is a brand new lighter. And
like 6 times, and then on the 7th time it does it.
It's
7,
a brand new lighter.
Yeah.
Like when you shake it, you can hear it's completely full of fuel. There must be something in there blocking it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what have you guys, do you guys have a strategy? Or are you thinking about, like, how are you handling the COVID thing in a proactive way?
Yeah, I mean, so like right away when it was a thing, and then all of a sudden online it became a cool thing to do the live streams for every band, and everybody was doing it virtually, or they were doing it together with masks on and stuff like that. So we kind of did that thing with the mask on thing for a second, and it just kind of didn't work. It doesn't work to play with masks on. It just doesn't, you know. So I mean, like the whole thing with Via, there's supposed to be a 3rd record. It's been talked about for like 2 years, and we've had the songs ready to go. We just have not done it, perfected it. I mean, now we're in like kind of phase, let's do it. Like we already set a date, like, okay, this is when we're starting the recording process. So
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially at this point. I just think like since this time, I've like, as like my day job, I've been working from home, and that's like gotten me to be able to, every day is Groundhog Day. So now I want to go and play music, you know, and I want to do it the right way with the people that I want to do it with, basically. And I think it's just like do it responsibly, because I mean, the whole COVID thing is scary, but you know, you can't not live your life to an extent too, you know, and that's me, you know, for sure.
And that's what that's what I'm seeing is everyone has a breaking point, period. Like at some point in time, people are like, all right, I've suffered and given up enough. Like, and everybody's got their own timetable of how long they're willing to hold on and deal with this shutdown. Yeah. But one by one, people are breaking down and like, all right, enough's enough. Yeah. Like, can I go back to work, please? Like, I'm sick of being broke. And like, I mean, it's just ridiculous, and it's on different scales. Some people right away lost their fucking places to live, and all kinds of crazy shit happened, man.
Yeah, every scenario is different, and like it's kind of goes back to like, oh, the rich always power over things, which may be true in some sense, but at the same time, too, every industry is different. Like with all this stuff, obviously, the music industry and the restaurant industry is taking a huge hit, and all the other things. But I mean, like, you know, the online world is ginormous because everybody's stuck at home. They're stuck at looking at something on the screen, you know, and the music industry, like I'll tell you this firsthand, for working in the music industry, for playing music and then selling music to people. I think that assuming that they throw out a vaccine and they get everybody right, and this kind of goes away, you know, assuming that happens here relatively soon, the next phase, the next couple of years in the music industry, in my opinion, will be so fucking important because there is so many people that are sitting at home writing all this stuff. I mean, like, could you think like another Black Parade all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that's so important to so many people. Right. Or like The Cure, or a fucking And Justice for All. I see your poster. It's like there's bands that are doing that stuff. That's why the online market is so huge for selling microphones and preamps and fucking interfaces and stuff and guitars, because people are doing it and they're making it aware that people are doing it. So I think the next couple of years will be very, very important. Like you'll have those Billie Eilishes and Metallicas and stuff like that will break through within the next couple of years. I really think that, because people, when they're
the new versions of Billie Eilish,
the new versions,
the new Metallica, not literally the Metallica.
No, not that. You know,
like but the next big band.
Yeah. I think it will happen because people,
and you think it'll be a new band that comes out of this, not a band that survived this.
Yeah.
So it won't be one of these big bands that pop. You're saying will have been conceptualized during this, not necessarily something that like Via, or even my project, which is like technically was around before this, but that one's a little bit more ambiguous because we never put anything out. We've never played a show. You know what I mean? Like we haven't even finished our fucking record, which is taking forever. We're dealing with the same shit. You know. Yeah. Everybody's remote. Are you guys still getting together and jamming and shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you kind of, so you guys basically kind of put yourselves in a little bit of a bubble. I mean, sort of, at least to an extent. And that's what I think we just got to do is you just got to start bubbling up. Like It's tough if you go to a place of work though where there's shit like that going on, like a call center.
Yeah.
It's like that's the opposite of a bubble, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's too many ins and outs on a daily basis. But like a band where there's 4 or 5 guys, you really love each other and trust each other to not go hog wild while you're at home trying to go out and hoggle some skis, you know, like it can work.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's gotta.
I mean, truthfully, like we played the Caboose in February, and then we were like, okay, so now it's a break time. That's when we kind of the second attempt of us like, okay, let's go write this. Let's go finish writing this record and get it like ready so we can do it in the fall, you know. But then shows started popping, mainly in Wisconsin, because as we all know,
it's fucking Wild West out there.
Yeah, it's the fucking Wild West. You know, it's like they stand very true to their rights with stuff. And I mean, I get it and I don't at the same time, but I'm not going to get into that. I mean, it's like we played a sold out show in June with Saliva. You know, like a sold out fucking show with people everywhere in the midst of a pandemic. And
in Wisconsin,
you know, and it was fucking awesome. We had a great time and nobody cared of it. You know, I went to a festival, the first festival that they did in Wisconsin, and it made fucking, you know, global news because this was actually happening. They originally titled it Herd Immunity Fest or whatever, that Static X played. And that resurge of Static X I've been just fucking in love with. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I went to it and I got my wife and like my best friend to go with us. Like we got in the van and it was like only maybe a couple thousand people maybe on the last day. But I mean, the owner of this place got so much grief for that. And even all the bands did, you know, but it was awesome. I mean, it was the best festival I've ever been to. And the reason why it was the best is because everybody was like, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, right. So there wasn't like, you know, a bunch of moshing and shit like that. Yeah, people didn't wear masks. You know, I had a bandana around my neck like I normally do all the time anyways. Right. So people don't look at me like a fucking asshole, you know, because that's what it is. It's mask shaming now, you know, and I got interviewed for going to that. Edsel Dope from Dope, he called me out and he like said that guy's fucking cool looking, you know, and everybody, they're like, that's Eric from Via, you know, and like that was there that knew of me, you know, once they said that. And it was cool. It was humbling, very much so. But I got this one kid named Parker that he called me and he like, I want to do an interview for you for the, you know, the newspaper, and it goes online and stuff like that. And he asked my opinion on how this whole thing and how it all went down and all this stuff like that. And I told him, I'm like, listen, this is news. This is news that you see every single day when you open your phone or you look at the TV. You read it in the newspaper. And everybody, this festival that we're talking about, everybody is going to forget about it in 2 weeks because there's going to be something else that somebody will be angry about. Mm-hmm. So this doesn't even fucking matter. This thing that we're talking about, yeah, it's in the now that we're talking about it, but it will not matter.
Correct.
Exactly. You know, and that's with anything in this stuff, like the election or once coronavirus is over and stuff like that. Once it's over, people don't want to remember it and look back on it unless it was a good situation, which most situations in this world aren't, you know? Right. And that's why music is important, in my opinion, because people hold on to that and they have memories that they can hold on to and cherish forever, like I've had and will have for the rest of my life. You know, it's
especially now when there's a deep lack of content coming out. There's not a lot of movies. There's not a lot of TV shows. There's not a lot of music. I mean, there's no shows. There's very little comedy coming out. You know, I guess Kevin Hart just put something out. He did a little thing in a bubble. I guess it's at his house. Somebody said. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I think Dave Chappelle did the same thing. I watched on his thing. He was like out in fields, out in fucking Ohio doing that. You know, that's awesome. You know,
and he tests everybody as they come in. So he's like, and then it's like, because once you test everybody and you can show nobody here is sick, per Ohio law, do your thing, man. Like you could theoretically, if you could logistically pull it off responsibly and adhere by the state guidelines, technically you could have a 10,000 person concert. in Ohio. You just got to figure out how to pull it off and be profitable enough to keep doing it, right? Like, whereas what Dave Chappelle's doing is I don't think he's trying to make money off these little deals, right? Most
Spreading
of this,
awareness and wants to talk to people.
well, yeah,
you know?
and I think because the way I've heard it is like the comics, when he calls you out and he's like, hey man, come out for the weekend, we're gonna do the thing in the backyard, blah 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 blah. The food he caters in is like top notch. He's got legit security. He's got like, there's so much money going into this thing that when I hear about this, I'm like, there's no way he's actually making money. He's got to be just like breaking even or even spending a little bit of money. That's not the point. The point is he wants to just keep doing it, and he's not going to just stop, right? But we're not seeing that same thing, to kind of go back to your point. We're not seeing that same thing from a lot of these bands during COVID. Yeah. They're just like, okay, I guess that's it. Like
it's a lot of the and it's a thing like management will say too, you know, it's like, this is not good for your career if you do that. But also the big rule that I've heard is bad publicity is good publicity, you know, for record sales and stuff like that, you know, how much you care about record sales or streams or whatever, you know, but it's like for example, when Static X went out and I watched them play it was a couple thousand people probably, and nobody had fucking masks on, you know. It was forgotten about now. No, I brought this up because nobody's talking about it anymore because there's too many other things to talk about.
Yeah, and they're so focused on Sturgis.
Yeah.
They're so focused on Sturgis that
that was insane. Yeah. I followed that whole thing, you know, and here's the thing, like, my opinion on it, you will get sick if you get sick.
Well, and I remember,
I know I sound terrible saying that, but you know,
but here's the other thing too, is I remember all of the experts, including our governor, saying we need to shut down for 2 weeks to flatten the curve. But here's the thing, you guys, this isn't going to actually prevent you from getting sick. All these measures are just to slow it down so we can keep up with it. Yeah. The numbers state and show us, the data says 85% of us are inevitably going to get this thing. The problem is the way it spreads is if 85% of us get it too quickly, we all could die because we're going to overwhelm the hospital systems, and then we're going to get the people that are trying to help us sick, right? It's this vicious cycle that just kind of collapses the whole deal. So that was the original justification for the lockdown, right? But my only real point for this is that number, dude, like 85% of us are going to eventually catch it. Based on how you socially distance and live in a bubble and all that kind of shit, is only going to help keep you from catching it and overwhelming the hospital systems if you're one of those people who catch it badly, right? But a lot of us, and I don't know what the number was on this, I thought it was like something like 50% of the people that catch it are asymptomatic or some shit like that. Like, I might be making that number up, but it wasn't really like, oh my God, everybody's going to die at once. It was, if all of us get sick at the same time, we're fucked.
It's bad.
So let's slow this thing down. And
which makes sense.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Totally
that's what I'm
sense.
saying. Like if it's 100% real, which I believe the virus is 100% real.
Yeah.
You kind of have to do that.
Yeah.
But now here we are coming up on legitimately almost a year since this virus was announced. It was December of last year. That's when this virus was announced. We're coming up on almost 9 months of a lockdown with no end in sight.
Yeah. And people don't want to hear that, and they don't want to follow the rules. You know, that's the thing. So that's why it's one of those things that's so hard to manage and control at the end of the day. You know, I feel for those fucking people that are in control, you know, to an extent, really, because as much as you want to call them an asshole and stuff like that, but it's like,
I mean, it does,
how much is it their control compared to the world leaders and presidents and shit, you know, that actually make the call, or the I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms, you know?
No, I know what you mean though, dude. And it's like, And then there's certain people now they're asking for national shutdowns. And it's like the government literally can't do that. That's why they never did it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like the federal government can't declare martial law and shut down state borders, because that's what people's remedy is right now. Is they're like, well, shut down the state borders and don't allow Minnesotans to go to Sturgis. Don't allow Minnesotans to go to those music festivals in Wisconsin. If they're going to stay open, leave those states to do their crazy wild shit, but don't let the neighbors go in and bring it back home. It's like, do you guys have any idea how unethical that is? So you're telling people where they can and cannot go now. This is like actual fascism we're talking about. Like, no, you're not allowed to cross this bridge. If you cross this bridge, you're a criminal.
Very outdated, man. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Like, wait a minute, dude.
Yeah.
No, like
this
these laws are
a lot more
play-
progressive than that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
what I'm saying. It's like, dude,
yeah.
come on. No, we can't do that. It's completely unethical. And then that doesn't even rationalize or acknowledge like the people that live in Hudson but work in St. Paul. Right? Like,
Yeah, what about when that happens?
Then you
know?
sit down to checkpoint and they have to have ID. And it's like, this is literally the Gestapo at this point. Like, we're going to check and make you prove where you're going. Like, come on, man. Like, dude, y'all don't even want fucking the same people that are calling for this kind of shit are the same people who are like, no, we should have open borders with Mexico because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, but you don't want me to be legally allowed to go to Wisconsin. Yeah. Are you insane? Like, we shouldn't have a border for the southern or northern side of the country, but we should have a fucking lockdown border across the river?
It doesn't work, man.
It's preposterous.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah.
Those two things are not, they don't go together. Like, that's conflicting logic. I don't understand it, dude.
It just doesn't work. That's the thing, you know. I mean, you can try, but we're all human, and the thing about it is not everybody is going to have the same opinion no matter what, and that's just politics. So, when do I?
Yeah, when do you think this whole lockdown thing ends? Like, not even like what's the event, like when a vaccine comes out, like, but like a timeline. Are we talking like another year, or do you think it's by this spring?
I really hope it's by the spring.
I mean, I do too, but what do you really think?
I want to believe it's by the spring. The reason why I say I don't think, because I honestly don't know. Like, I'm not surprised with anything in this world.
If you had to bet a dollar.
So if I could bet a dollar.
If you had to bet a dollar.
April 7th. That's my day. Yeah, that is straight up my fucking day, man. Yep. You know, and I say
at
the
7 a.m.
Yeah, at 7 a.m. Yeah, it's over. Fuck this. You know, it's over. Go have fun. You know.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. You know,
it's fucked, dude. It's fucked. Like, people are losing their minds, and
it's sad. It is. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: is I didn't really like going out and hanging out with large groups of people, anyways.
Yeah.
Like, I used to joke about this when I was still playing shows. People were like, "Dude, how come you never come out anymore?" Blah 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 blah. And I'd be like, "Dude, I don't even like going to my own shows, bro."
Yeah.
Like, I love being on stage and doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
But I don't like all that other shit that goes with it anymore. I love playing, writing, making, recording, practicing, rehearsing, and performing music.
See,
I love the act of it. Is what I don't like is the tedious bullshit that goes around it. Like, dude, I'm not like really that much older than you, but I'm a handful of years older than you. And like, you said you're 30.
Yeah.
So somewhere between now and 33, it all changes. And I'm not saying like you become old. No, you can still be fucking super athletic and all that. However, you start to feel certain things in certain joints, like your knees or your back. It is what kills me is standing on concrete floors for 4.5 hours listening to 3 bands I don't like so I can listen to the one band I do like. So I've just
very tediously learned this over the years too, like on how to do it, man. I mean, like, I am and have been since I was fucking like 16 an active First Avenue goer, you know.
Sure.
And I've gotten better at it over like the years of, especially with the beauty of Lyft and Uber. Like, okay, I'm gonna show up at 10:30, and I already have it locked down where I'm gonna be like I'm able to walk in. you know, and they're not going to do anything
I'm
about
gonna
it.
grab
you
a
know,
dude.
so-
Keep
all right,
talking.
cool.
I can hear you. I'm just...
But I mean, I like doing that stuff, but like you said, standing on concrete, you know, at like the X or something like that, or oh my god, I I literally a long time ago, like me and I and an ex like went and saw a show at the Myth and got there way too fucking early, and I swear to God, like the bar tab that night was $350 between both of us because it's one of those things like you go there way too fucking early, you're all fucking speeded out, and you just, I mean that was that time, you know. My mom and we went and saw. My mom's favorite band in the entire world, or one of them, is Heart. You know, like she wanted to be Nancy Wilson. Like, and
Is your mom a musician?
she's not. She wanted to be. She tried
Gotcha.
to play guitar when she was a kid and tried to have lessons, but it didn't work. So when I was a kid and said, I want to play guitar, she's like, abso-fucking-lutely, let's do it, you know? So my mom's done a million things for me in this world, so God bless her, you know, like she's fucking the best. And Hart and Joan Jett were coming to town and they were playing the X, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get the tickets for her, you know, like a couple $100 or whatever the fuck it was. And her and I, and only her and I went. Like I didn't bring my wife or my sister or anybody. We went to the show, and my mom and I got fucking shit faced on $9 glasses of wine the whole time. I literally sat down, and because it was a chair seating thing during Heart, and that's because I was just so fucked up because I couldn't stand up anymore. You know, it was, and that night, you know, she probably paid most of the bar tab, but it was, I'm guessing, probably $300-$400, you know, between the two of us. You know,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
just, I don't know.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I've done that.
easily,
Kate and I,
you know.
Kate and I have gone to a few Coheed concerts together. Because, like you were saying earlier, you're a metal dude and shit.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's my like roots, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Is like straight up fucking metal.
Yeah.
Metallica, Megadeth,
Mhm.
like just the metal, you know what I mean? Thrash metal. But somewhere along the lines, I developed a soft spot and a supreme appreciation for non-heavy music. And it was after years of performing and touring and listening to that music.
You get that way, definitely.
I was just like, dude, I don't want to fucking listen to this shit anymore because this is all we do. And every band we play with is doing this shit. Like, that's the last thing I want to listen to.
Yeah.
So I started listening to some crazy shit. And then I discovered Coheed and Cambria a long time ago, man. And other than Metallica, they're probably my favorite band.
Awesome.
Like, it's, you know, still always going to be Metallica because it's Metallica. But
yeah.
But dude, they're not really doing it like they used to be. Like getting
No.
a new album from Metallica is like an insanely rare thing.
It's a
now.
unicorn, man, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Coheed, dude, they're dropping them like every month, or not every month, every year.
Yeah.
Every 2 years tops. So they're just pumping out this content. And at the end of the day, like they gotta be probably my actual favorite current band. So Kate and I went to a few of these concerts, and almost several, but a couple of them, it was almost exactly what you described. Like we got there like an hour before Coheed started, and I remember. How do you feel about Glassjaw?
Punk band, right?
Eh,
They're
maybe.
like originated as a punk band, you know?
maybe.
Yeah. I never really listen to them much. I know who the fuck they are, you know, but I don't know. You don't like them? Yeah. I mean, I don't own a CD or can say I can listen to them, you know? I mean, but yeah, so you saw them and they fucking sucked and you just couldn't handle it or something?
And my
Yeah.
wife was like,
Yeah.
she's like, I used to like this band.
Okay.
And she's like, I don't know what it is. And I was like, they've always sucked, babe. You're just now figuring it out. Like, there's something about that singer. It just drives me nuts. But yeah, so we ended up going outside and smoking a bunch of cigarettes. She doesn't smoke, I smoke. And fucking slamming beers. And I can't even remember how much we spent, but it was ridiculous. And then the same fucking thing happened at the Armory. Same fucking thing happened at the Armory, dude.
With
We went up there.
Mastodon show with them, or who are you
I can't
referring
remember
to?
who it was. It might have been the Mastodon show.
I was VIP. If it was Every Time I Die, Mastodon and Coheed, I was there.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And
It was early show.
It wasn't, believe it or not, it wasn't Mastodon that I couldn't stand. It was Every Time I Die. And I used to really like that band.
They threw down at the beginning, man.
Dude,
I totally get it.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. But there was something going on that night where I was like, ugh.
Another like $500 night. And I won the tickets like on
No shit.
No, seriously. Like I'm close with Graham like to an extent, 93X. And I like did that whole text thing and won the box office thing for that concert for like 8 of us, and we had a great time. But yeah, it was like $500 for all the food and all the drinks, and it could have kept going way more extreme. And it was one of those things, I like it got so I don't know, it's just it was a fun night, but I've seen Coheed a bunch of times too, and they're awesome. Love them.
I've snuck up to that VIP area. I can't tell you how many times. And it's not really sneaking. I just sweet talk the person at the bottom.
Which isn't hard,
Yeah, I'm like,
cool
man,
venue though. Yeah.
I think it's my favorite venue.
Yeah, other than First Ave, in my opinion, this is my like close second, if not, because I mean, like First Avenue has its history
And the
it's
mystique.
awesome. And I've had so much,
And the sound and the
good
sight
times,
lines are just great.
yeah. Yeah, but the Armory is a whole
bigger.
different ball game. You can go and piss in any wing. You can go out and smoke easier. You can,
There's bars everywhere.
so it's easy for everything. The only terrible part is trying to get into that bitch.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't had a huge problem with it. Seems
the
pretty easy.
line to get into that place.
I've never really experienced
What?
the line. Yeah.
We went and saw Alice in Chains play there last time.
Really?
And waited in line for an hour. And it was like every time we've gone there, it's been that way. We saw Ghosts there, like all these fucking bands. And I mean, I get it. You want to make sure people aren't bringing in fucking AK-47s into the fucking place and shit. But
because of the security is
yeah. But it was the longest fucking line I've ever been into in my life. Seriously.
That's hilarious. No, the worst for concerts was Excel. That was the fucking worst because they had a smoking area.
Yep, I remember it. Yeah.
But you still had to go through security both ways.
Yeah.
Right? So they wanted to make sure you weren't sneaking anything out, and they wanted to make sure you weren't sneaking anything back in.
Yeah.
And it's like, bitch, it was actually a dude, But
you call him a bitch.
Yeah, I know. I just don't want people to think I talk to women like that just randomly. Like, I sarcastically throw that word out all the time.
Yeah.
But it's some dude, and I'm like, bitch, you literally can see me smoking my cigarette right through that fucking door. Like, it's 12 feet from this checkpoint.
Yeah.
Like, don't act like I'm going out there and I'm going to disappear. Like, you can see I don't even have a fucking coat on, bro. It's the middle of the winter. I have one cigarette and this lighter. Like, and I'm in a fucking, like, nice suit. You know what I mean? I don't remember what concert I was there. It was for something really fancy. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was the Game of Thrones orchestra.
Cool.
It was fucking awesome. Yeah, Kate and I got, like, super dressed up and fucking, like, did it all, like,
awesome.
Prissy. I don't know what word I would describe, but yeah, I'm like, dude, I'm going out. I'm going to take 10 drags off the cigarette as fast as I can because it's freezing outside. I don't even have a coat on. Like, but nope. Man, it fucking held me to the ringer. And it sucks, dude. Like, but Vikings games are far worse than that because you can't even go out and smoke.
Yeah.
There's no re-entry. And that's not a U.S. Bank Stadium thing because you can totally go out and smoke at Metallica. When I went to Metallica, dude, I
smoked on the floor at Metallica when I was there.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Too. Yeah,
a lot of people said they did
that was the first concert, I think, at the bank.
Second.
Yep. Was it a country one before that or
Luke
something?
Bryan, I think.
Cool. But I mean, I'm not a fan, but I was there, and the cool thing about that Metallica concert, I was up visiting friends and family up in like Brainerd area, and we were sitting at the local watering hole and having a good old time. And we were playing pull tabs. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, because I knew I'm not getting concert tickets for this. I'm not going. And anytime they've came to town, I've always gone, since I can remember. And we were playing pull tabs and I started texting some people and get on Facebook. I'm like, people are saying, oh, I got tickets for sale and stuff. And So I'm looking at my buddies that are with me. I'm like, okay, so if we pull the big tickets here in the next like 10 minutes, that money, we're going to fucking Metallica. We could leave now and we could like still see them. We'll miss fucking Avenged Sevenfold and Volbeat and shit like that, but we could see Metallica play. And these dudes that I'm with, they haven't seen this shit before. And I'm like, you gotta see them. It's fucking loud. It's awesome. So like right then and there, we pulled like a $500 and a $300. And I'm like, all right, we're fucking going. We got in the car and we drove down the cities. When parked at some random fucking place, had the tickets, met up with the people outside of it, like finagled it, and we're there.
That's
it was so cool. It was like in the matter of 2.5 hours.
What do you think of Volbeat?
Not a fan.
Me neither.
No, I think musically they're pretty fucking good. The singer, not for me, man.
Right.
I get what he's doing. I totally get what he's doing. He's trying to be something different, like the yodeling. Were they from like Australia or something?
No idea.
Yeah, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it, and then I just decide if I like it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want to know the backstory because, like, then I can sympathize with it and try to rationalize bad music.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you don't get it because they're doing all this and this and this. Like, who gives a fuck if you're putting all that work into that other shit and your music still sucks? You're literally just dividing your efforts. You need to concentrate more on just making good music.
The record industry will know when there's a good or a bad song within the first like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, or maybe it's longer. I don't know, but they know, and I would like to think I have a pretty good ear, for that shit, but I don't know.
I would like to say I do, like, because that's what I've been given props for from other people is like my ability to write catchy music. And catchy is what a hit is.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
And they can tell, is this going to be catchy within 5 to 15 seconds? I literally have heard they will never listen to more than the first 30 seconds. Like, and if they do listen to more than 30 seconds, they're already in.
Yeah.
They just want to see where you're going with this. But they're like, you see what I'm getting at here? Like,
yes.
If you get them to second number 45 in your song, that's because you already sold them 30 seconds ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that from
probably
basically
not far-fetched,
everyone that's ever, that I believe has ever actually been in those situations. When they talk about it, the people I trust, that's what a lot of them have said is they're like, oh yeah, no, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's
They're
all
not
they
dummies,
do.
That's what they do. They get a million different tapes tapes of dating. Not
Right.
myself, but just that's how I talk. I listen to vinyl still.
How do you think they even get it now? Do people still send CDs, or do you send a USB stick, or do you send a link, a QR code?
So many people would think either way is impractical, and then some people like the Spotify nerd kids, will be like, oh, you can only hear it here or on fucking SoundCloud. And I don't know. I have fucking no idea, to be honest with you.
Because like it still happens.
Absolutely, it does.
And if you get in the right situation, it's still worth doing. If anybody's confused what we're talking about, I'm talking about like being signed and working with a label and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just curious how it happens now. Is it purely they go scouting on the internet and just like watch the numbers? Like, hey, this band is hitting these markers. They're doing something. Let's reach out. Or
I think it's
do you still reach out? Like we used to send what are called press kits, and then they became EPKs, which were just electronic press kits. Now what do you send?
I think it's kind of gone
Your YouTube
backwards
page?
a little bit, a little old fashioned, where they're like, have you ever seen the movie Straight Outta Compton?
Oh yeah,
fucking great movie.
Great movie.
And that manager, the dude from whatever fucking show, like he said, I'm going to make you money. I was fucking Leonard Skinner's manager or whoever the fuck he was manager for, and he went and did it. Like, I think we're kind of getting back into that fashion where literally management comes into play and they say, this band's going to make it. They're going to be the thing, I mean, you can't tell me that somebody like that didn't go and find Billie Eilish.
Right.
It wasn't her sending her demo tapes to fucking people. Somebody else said, I see dollar signs in my eye. Here we go. Or the government created her, like a lot of people say,
I don't know if this is true, but I believe someone told me is what happened with her was she had her shit on SoundCloud. Somebody just, a fan, like really liked it and decided to go post it in a Reddit thread, a Reddit sub.
I don't believe that for a fucking second,
And
to be honest with you.
people, I mean, dude, here's the thing is like most shit comes from one of two places, 4chan or Reddit.
I know that for a
That's
fact.
like
I
the
get that,
source. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then when
you see scary shit on those websites, I totally know it. I get it.
And some really good
Yeah.
shit on it. I don't fuck with 4chan, but I'm on Reddit and there's some really good shit on there too. Like some amazing stuff, like some really well thought out stuff. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Reddit is a crazy place, but
I don't know about an artist that big though. In my opinion, that's just me.
well,
so,
no, I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
how she got discovered. Is like somebody put her shit in this Reddit thread, and
then somebody bought her. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
blew
I get
up.
that. Yeah,
she
yeah.
went viral, and then people were like, "Hey, you're trending," or whatever. Like that's what my question is. Is like, do you have to almost pull a Dave Matthews or a Dwight Yoakam for the older cats that might be listening? These are guys that are notorious for not having any industry interest. Dave Matthews, most people don't know this. Dave Matthews sold 300,000 copies of his first album out of the trunk of his car.
Fucking cool.
Just playing festivals and just
Good
fucking
for him,
just doing it. Dwight Yoakam did almost the exact same thing. And then they built this deal, and then the record labels wanted to work with them. So by the time they actually signed, they had all the cards. They had all the equity.
Yeah.
If they would have gotten signed earlier, they would have gotten fucked like the rest of us all do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they already established their product, their name, their brand, and
Yep.
So many people can be taken advantage. I mean, the Beatles, for example, like I watched this thing about fucking Paul McCartney's deal with Michael Jackson. Like they were buddies, and Paul gave MJ the fucking ropes to go somewhere. And then all the deals the Beatles signed in the 60s and stuff were all garbage. The biggest fucking band of all time, arguably. If not, I mean, I gotta say it. They're probably the biggest band. Everybody knows that name. Little kids know that name.
Yeah, and I think the numbers back that up too.
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
total album sales. I think the Beatles are number one with a bullet. I think
probably.
I mean there's individual albums that are much like Peter Frampton Comes Alive,
yeah,
and then Thriller, obviously.
Back in Black.
These are megalithic albums. The
Yeah.
Black Album is one of them, believe it or not. But we're talking that whole catalog. I think the Beatles are on top.
Absolutely.
So I think it's fair to say they're the biggest band of all time.
Yeah, I would agree.
Especially if you factor in there would be no other. They were the first band. There were no bands like that before.
Yeah.
There were artists.
The Fab Four, man.
Right.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they were
Mhm.
the first band. Like it's so hard to put.
They did so much in the time frame that they were a band, and it's unbelievable. Hats off to them.
Yeah, there'd be no Led Zeppelin. There'd be no Black
nobody.
Sabbath. There'd be no Metallica without Beatles. Like
Absolutely not.
you got to respect that whether you like their music or not. For anybody that's listening, is like,
Yeah.
fuck you guys. They suck. I get it.
Yeah.
You're a Beatles hater. Cool.
I think
I'm not hating.
There's some terrible, like I'm a big fucking Beatles fan, but they are a band that has some really fucking turd songs, man. Like it's really bad ones, and I like bands that I can listen to. Like my favorite band in the entire world is a band called Failure. They're from the '90s and they're a reboot band, and they're fucking my favorite fucking band. But the Beatles is one of my other favorite bands. But the thing about them is, like, I can listen to the White Album, and there is some really fucking bad songs on that record, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people agree with me. But kind of getting back to where I was talking about, is like with
the deals they were signing.
the deals they signed were shit. So they didn't own a lot of their music, is from my understanding, right away. Like it was all everybody else. That's why Apple Incorporation came into the picture, basically. Because you create a label or a name so you can then kind of try to take back over what you own, essentially. It's really old-fashioned when you think about it, because it's like you lose your land, and then you have to find a way to get it back,
Yeah.
Yeah. But Michael Jackson, he bought the Beatles music until when MJ died.
Mm-hmm.
the Beatles music was never available online until they could figure out the rights after all that shit got sold back to them, you know? Like that Motley Crue movie, for example, too. You know, like they didn't own any of their music until Nicky bought it all back. And probably the best thing he ever did, I'm guessing,
think Prince,
you know? So, yeah.
I think at one point in time, Prince owned the entire Beatles catalog as well.
Did he?
I think.
We got to fact check that. I don't know about that, but you know, you might be right. He'd probably be worth more money though at this point, you know, don't you think? I don't know, but that's the thing. I mean, and I think MJ bought the first 4 Metallica records too.
No,
I'm dead serious. You got to look this shit up. I don't know if it's true or not, but everybody's probably like posting on here like, you guys are fucking idiots. You don't know what you're talking about. No, I don't know. Prince owns Beatles catalog.
Let's see.
I might need to bomb a smoke from you here in a minute.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
But I need your lighter because I lost mine somewhere.
There you go.
Cool, thank you. The new lighter.
So it was Michael Jackson, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, I knew it was him.
So, but
that's why
Prince owned a lot of other people's music. So I'm probably just getting it mistaken with something.
Yeah.
Did you say Michael Jackson owned the first several
4 Metallica records before Black Album?
Let's see if this just pops up like this.
Yeah, Metallica reclaims ownership of entire catalog.
What?
Yeah, no, seriously, dude. Like those bands when they need the money after all that shit, you know. And Metallica as a band, they hit it hard for so many years, man. So many years. They probably needed some money. Another example of Apple Incorporated, like the Beatles, blackened records. Same thing. You have to create your own kind of name that repurchase, I guess, or whatever the fuck they would consider it in logical terms. But so I thought it was
this
MJ.
Doesn't even remotely say who they bought it back from.
Okay.
Oh, Warner Music Group. There it was.
Yeah. So they just had deals on those first 4 records before the Black Album that got them in that situation. Because they didn't make any fucking money on the first 4 records.
Fucking crazy.
No money. They had enough money to stay on the road so they could do what they did.
Yeah, and it's wild because, like, I'm kind of curious what you think about this, because I'm noticing there's a trend. Oh, that borderline killed the stream. It came back, but oh wow, it did not like that. Yeah, we're back. We get it. It's fine. Everything's fine. Quit freaking out. Sorry guys, the fucking computer did not like the fact that I was looking that up in another browser. But yeah, anyways, forgot what the fuck I was saying, dude.
You were talking. I mean, you were getting somewhere after the Metallica catalog. We were talking about like.
Oh yeah. So basically, it's like when I think about this, I see back then, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even through the 80s, a lot of bands didn't really make any money. I mean, shit, we even heard about this with TLC. You didn't really make any money off your album sales. That shit went to the labels. You made your money off concerts, and then that shit flipped for a while. And artists made a lot of money off their album sales for a while.
Yeah.
But now with streaming, it seems to me like if we're going to survive, we kind of have to be the smart business people and realize like, okay, we're getting tenths of pennies on the dollar per stream. And on top of that, it's getting real tough to tour. So how do we generate income without selling records? Like, I think we have to figure out or accept the fact that you ain't making money off your music anymore. You essentially are using your music as a way to promote your brand and your your brand, because more than just the music. The music is like a tool to get people interested, and then get back out and play concerts, and then turn around and start putting out more digital content and selling the merch and figuring out a way to make actual money off of that shit. Launching a Patreon, so for $3 to $5 a month, your fans can fucking get extra content behind the scene, discounts on merchandise. Maybe once, this is my big thing, is I think a band should get together once a week after your Friday rehearsal, if you're not playing a show, and fucking the 4 or 5 of you do an hour or a 2-hour podcast once a week directly from your fans. Think about this. When we were young, we would go spend $20 to $30 on a DVD.
Yeah.
That was an hour to 2 hours long, and it was done. That's it. But we would spend $20-something to get that extra content.
At FYE. Remember FYE?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Are we really going to sit here and say that we could do that, but we can't convince people to spend $3 a month to get that same level of inside access on a 2-hour podcast weekly? If that's the case,
we're all
people
doomed.
ain't that interested in your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be a way to do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My mind is just changing about it, because again, it's kind of like what we were talking about before the podcast. Like, I just can't accept that the industry is gone when I'm seeing other people make it in the industry. I can't accept that live music is dead when there's other bands still drawing, and they're not big time, big name bands. Like, this is all still alive and well. We got to figure out how to be better marketers online, especially my generation, which is a few years older than you.
Yeah.
And we have no fucking idea how the internet works.
Yeah.
Like, we really don't, man.
I totally get it. They hire people to do that, and some people pick up on it and some people don't. And it's something you have to just be involved in, and you have to be dedicated to do. If you're not dedicated to do it, it's as simple as, like, for example, I fucking have worked from home since March. If I didn't get up and fold the fucking bed every day and do the laundry and take out the garbage, if I didn't do the same concept in my music where I needed to do this, answer the fan mail or answer fucking all this stuff, then you're set up for failure unless you already have somebody doing that for you, especially if you're doing it in a DIY situation,
Yep.
Which I've done a lot of, or tried to do a lot of. I mean, I've had a lot of help with people, but, between my artists that I've worked with, it's a whole deal. So
I'm just going to refresh this.
yeah, I would. Yeah.
That warning's, it's fine. It's just the warning's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Because I know it's fine. I'm looking up here at these stats and it's fine.
Yeah.
It's still there. Fuckers.
Yeah.
Sons of bitches.
Well, it's mostly high, so that's cool. Like us,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's good, dude. There's people watching too.
Word.
Shit, I had a question and I already forgot what it was. Dude, we've only been going about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about, dude? We got plenty of time, man. What do you want to get into?
I mean,
what's on your mind, Eric?
I mean, we could talk about like the fucking lockdown and stuff like that, but that's not. I don't know. I'm over that. It's like, what a lot of people might know about me, or you might not know about me because we just kind of met as I'm an avid horror movie fan. Yeah, and that's like almost as important to me as music is. Like 100%, seriously.
Go on.
I mean, you look at my fucking arms and stuff like that. I'm Halloween dedicated, like true and tried, like in that type of thing. That stuff. Okay, look at it this way. Some people have like a depression and they do a certain thing to make themselves happy, whatever that may be. If I'm ever down, I put on like 1978 fucking Halloween with fucking Nick Castle, John Carpenter, and Jamie Lee Curtis, and it makes me happy. And I've brainwashed my wife into like that same way, seriously.
Wow.
Because it's like I I love her to death because when we met, like that's how we kind of came about, you know, like we came with a lot of the same interests, but I'm a little bit more of an extremist to it, you know, like, I don't know. It's an active thing that makes me happy because I'm like a horror, not just a horror movie buff, but like a movie buff to an extent too, you know, and then, I just think it's fucking fascinating, that side of the industry as well too. That's movie creating. I used to live with my good buddy named Tony, who I'm still good friends with, and he has dedicated his life to making films. And like I like to say, like, what are you doing this weekend? He's like, I'm like, oh, you're making movies? You know, because he's always making something. He did the first couple videos for us with Via, which was cool. And he followed us around for fucking, I think it was 15 shows and montaged our first music video to it, which was really cool. So it was all these different venues and shit. But, I mean, that's the thing. It's really cool. You know, movies and music and just the industry, I think, is just fascinating. You know, I could talk about that shit all the time.
What fascinates you about the horror? Why is that what tickles your fancy?
Horror movies get you in. They're like kind of like this podcast. They get you to put your phone away. They get you to glue into something and get you to drip into a different reality.
What do you got against Marvel movies, man?
Nothing wrong with Marvel movies.
I'm just fucking.
Yeah, my wife and I, we watched the whole fucking Spider-Man category, like the first 3 and all that stuff. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, I know you're a Star Wars buff, you know, too. So like,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not really a Star Wars buff.
You're not?
I've
Okay.
just been binging them lately because I have Disney Plus.
Sure.
So it's like, I love them for the nostalgia.
Yeah.
But they're terrible movies. Like, they're not
just like
good.
horror movies.
They're
you know?
not good. Like the newest ones, like the acting is so much better, and the dialogue,
they have a direction, you know.
Yeah, and the dialogue is better. But the storytelling isn't any better. The plot doesn't make any fucking sense in the new ones either. Like, none of it makes any sense. The only thing I can give George Lucas credit for, beyond the obvious, which is creating an entire universe, is making sure that at least episodes 1 through 6, the plot and the continuity is fucking sound. Like, it's confusing and it jumps around, but they fill in the gaps with the other shit and the other lore. So when you're just watching those movies, even though they're confusing, it's like they're confusing because they have to make sure they hit certain plot points.
Right.
But that's also why I don't fucking like them, is because they're not character-driven stories. Meaning, there's two types of stories. You have a character-driven story and you have a plot-driven story. A plot-driven story will arbitrarily make characters do shit to make the plot make sense. A character-driven story the story comes second to making sure that this character's arc makes sense and their journey makes sense.
They're writing the story as they go because they don't have a fucking backlog. Like
or they'll change it, or they'll
like a
switch up the
Stephen King
ending,
film, like any Stephen King book that they make a movie on, like It or The Shining or fucking Pet Sematary or any of that stuff like that. They already have something to go off
source
so
material,
exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing with Star Wars or Halloween, for example. Like, I'm a huge super fucking fan, you know, but like a geek super horror fan. Like I said, my tattoos are dedicated to it. The t-shirts I buy, all that shit. It's just like the horror conventions and stuff like that we want to go to that we haven't done. But, you know, they don't have they have an original story, but then when it makes money and they want to start doing more, then more people's hands get dipped in the pots. That's the prime example of when something starts making money, other people want to be involved with the money-making situation. So they want to grab the idea and either make it good, or they bring shit ideas and they say, oh, well, that's the only fucking idea I got. So, like, luckily for the show South Park, for example, they have a great cast of fuckers that sit in a room and talk about it, and then they just build the most ridiculous shit possible, and then they put it out, and they don't even think about it. And that's going back to the Beatles, for example. The 4 of them, and then whoever else helped write that music with them, which was quite a few people, they just kept on going with the idea because they put out records every 1 to 3 records a year between the 60s, which is unfucking believable.
That is crazy.
It, you know,
that
how
pace
much,
is insane.
How much hustling that was. Like they either knew like fucking a couple things. They knew playing a live show, which everybody wanted them. They went into the studio, they recorded music, or they were in the hotel rooms getting fucking high. You know, I mean, or doing whatever they
later
did. You
Beatles.
know, so,
They
yeah,
were-
more later. Beatles,
After they
absolutely.
met Bob Dylan. Do you know that?
That's when
Bob Dylan got him
drugs
high
start-
for the first time. So they played with
on
Bob
what?
weed.
Cool.
Bob Dylan played with the Beatles and fucking gave him a joint, and they smoked a joint with Bob Dylan.
So what
and-
era of the Beatles then?
Well that's the end of the clean cut.
Right as Rubber Soul kind of era. Yeah. They started doing drugs around
Yep.
Rubber Soul area, probably. You know,
Yep.
so yeah, I totally.
And then
get that,
if you really understand
Yeah.
the progression of their drug use, it directly correlates to their music and into different chapters. So they have the acid phase, which was a little bit later on. So that's when you
Yeah.
get into like Yellow Submarine and some shit like that, right? Yeah, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, all of that. Like that's all acid inspired music. But before that, they were just dabbling with weed and some shit like that. And before that, they were clean, and you can clearly hear it in their fucking music, dude.
Which one of my favorite movies of all time is Walk Hard. I'm sure you've seen.
Love it.
It's the funniest fucking movie on the planet.
It's so great.
Seriously,
This is a dark fucking period.
Yeah, it's so funny because they just really wreck that whole deal. you
That's
know?
my
Yeah.
favorite part of that whole movie is when he's having his meltdown montage and he just like randomly yells out, "This is a dark fucking period."
While he's fucking a chick during it, yeah. That's actually funny because
fuck,
like
dude.
my relationship with Flip, for example, is like they're they got 30 years on me, man, almost 30 years, and I laugh so hard with them about that movie, because I totally pick up on that. Like I've been kind of told I'm a little bit of an older soul, than I actually am, so that's why I feel like I can relate with these fucking guys, and that's one of the things. It's like that movie is so funny because it picks apart everything,
Right. Yep.
So
Yeah, it literally goes after every possible version of a musician and literally makes fun of us and the entire journey in such a relatable way that it's amazing because like they're clearly making fun of us in our lives, but we're into it. Like we
Yes.
like it because
Yes.
it's so spot on. But the way they approach it is they just take everything in that movie and put it on its head, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck that. That's exactly what we're making fun of." And for me, the epitome of that is, he's banging that bitch. This is a dark fucking period.
that'd have been the funnest movie to be a part of. Seriously, oh my
Oh,
god.
I love that movie.
Yes,
dude.
I saw that in theaters and just died, and I still can watch it anytime. The extended long cut version of it too, where it even gets more drawn out, where it's like obnoxious, and then it gets even
goes
more
way too
obnoxious.
far, yeah.
It's like, really, dude?
That's the best is
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
take it too far and it stops being funny, but you keep going with it, so it
Yeah.
starts becoming funny again. That shit will hit
I
me
love
every
that sense
time.
of humor, man. Yeah.
Another one that it's not the same style comedy, but the same like vibe that it gives me is all those like Napoleon Dynamite, The Life Aquatic, like
Yep.
just these super over the top awkward moments that are so real but so caricaturized that it just works so well on film. But it's like, dude, there's people like this in the real world. Like I remember watching those movies and dying laughing because like every one of those fucking people in those movies reminded me of somebody I worked with at the collection agency I was working at when both of those movies came out, dude. Oh, and the way they would just draw something on for way too long, and then it just, you're like, dude, okay. And they keep
You're beating a
going.
fucking dead horse,
And
man.
all of a sudden I'm chuckling again, dude. And like now it's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Another one is my favorite comedy movie of all time. Have you seen Hot Rod?
Oh yeah.
That to me is the single greatest comedy movie of all time.
Where he gets thrown down the fucking hill and it keeps going.
Fall,
you know?
That's a great example.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Danny McBride's one of my favorite. Eastbound and Down. That's just lifelong fucking show. I have like that and Californication and a couple weird shows. It's like I have to sit. It's not Halloween to me because Halloween I can sit back because it's a good movie to me, but it's a bad movie at the same time. Eastbound and Down.
Like Willow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Willow, you idiot.
It's bad, man.
It's such a bad movie.
Eastbound and Down and like Hot Rod and anything Danny McBride based, basically. Or like I said, Californication. It's those shows that to me, it's like I felt such a connection with those because they're so ridiculous that I have to be in the right time if I'm going to sit back and watch that all again and binge watch that, because it's drama. It's fucking drama is what it is, And
I loved Californication.
Me too.
That was a great show. That was something I never saw coming. Like it kind of caught me off guard, so to speak. Because like it was David Duchovny, who in my mind is like the X-Files guy. And I was just like, fuck that guy,
Yeah.
And then I don't remember how, when, or why. But I was like, fuck it. I'll check it out. I watched the first episode, and I don't remember if it was like within seconds of the beginning of the episode or it was like on the closing of the first episode. But I was like, sold. And this was back when you would I guess I still have them. You would buy episodes of TV shows for like $1.99 on iTunes and put them in your iPod.
Yeah.
And then we would watch them on our iPods while we worked.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I fucking ended up buying all of Californication, fucking a bunch of seasons of Lost.
And it's a resurge of this now.
Yeah.
Like Google Play, for example, or like Apple like TV and shit like that. You can now buy that stuff when you stream it on your TV, so you can have it now forever in your archives on your fucking phone and your Gmail, and that's what I've done with a lot of things,
Yeah, dude, my Apple TV library, I got a year of Apple TV for free because I bought an iPhone.
Cool.
It's just part of the thing. I think it was when you bought an 11 or whatever, and I didn't really buy it. I just got it through Sprint. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just the icing on the cake.
Yeah, but it was just part of the thing. I turned my phone on. I didn't even know it was going to be a deal. And it's like, because you bought this iPhone, you get 1 year of iTunes or Apple TV for free. I was like, okay, cool. And then made sure, of course, it auto unsubscribes at the end of that year, right? I went in and set it to expire or whatever. But sure as shit, I pull it up on my computer, and every single thing I ever bought through the old iTunes is still sitting there on that. And so I started watching Dexter again.
Nice.
Did you watch Dexter?
Oh yeah, I rewatched that. Yeah.
God, I don't know why everybody hated that ending so bad. I get it; it could have been a lot better. But man,
I'm one to believe everybody fucking hated it. But like that's the thing, that's John Carpenter and his fashion just saying fuck you, or Stephen King saying fuck you to anybody who thinks that they're going to get a happy ending.
You think he lived?
Thinks,
You think he lived?
Do I?
Yeah, Dexter, you think he lived at the end of that? Yeah, me too, of course. Yes. And he's definitely still killing people.
And there will be another one.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard they're either bringing it back or they're doing a movie or like a mini series or something like that. They're doing something to better resolve.
There's no way, if people still are talking about it, like you and I right now, there's no way that they wouldn't,
Right.
So, yeah.
Here's what my question is.
Okay.
Seems to me almost everyone is cool with the ending of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Is there any other show out there where everyone's cool with the ending? Any of them?
Nobody will ever agree.
Right?
No,
Except for what seemingly Breaking Bad. Right? I thought Sons of Anarchy had a pretty good ending to it.
I didn't do that one, but I did do Breaking Bad.
Sons of Anarchy I thought was great. Yeah. I just like that dude who wrote that show. He wrote a show called The Shield.
Yep. I've heard of it.
Yeah, he's just I just dig that dude. I just dig how he does shit. I thought that was pretty decent ending. Lost was garbage. Game of Thrones was fucking garbage.
Oh, you didn't like it?
Not the
I
ending.
think that they could have did it better. Yes,
They
100%.
rushed it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't
I thought-
HBO. Do you know this? It was not HBO.
Because they put on different...
HBO offered them 2 full seasons, so 20 episodes to end it the right way. In fact, there was talk that George R.R. Martin and HBO wanted 10 seasons to do the whole thing correctly.
Should have made sense.
But by season 5, those guys were already burnt out on the show. The D&D's what they're called on Reddit, Dave and whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
So when it came time to talk about it by season 6, and they were like, okay, at least then we want to do a full 10 episodes each season, or what? Yeah, 10. So we can at least have 8 full seasons. And they're like, no, we'll wrap it up in 13. They just bailed and rushed it. And so again, we were talking about this earlier. This is a great example. This is why Game of Thrones ended so badly. When they had the books and the source material, it was 100% a character-driven story. All of the plots were based on the characters' arcs, their personalities, their motivations, their decisions, and their personal journey and evolution. As soon as D&D passed the books, especially in 7 and 8, they threw the character plots out the fucking window, and it was purely a plot-driven story at that point. And that's why people are like, it doesn't make sense why these fucking characters are acting this way. That's why. Because they broke the rule of writing 101. Either you're a plot-driven story or you're a character-driven story. You do not switch halfway through unless you go from a plot-driven story to a character-driven story. You can go that way because usually character-driven stories end up better.
Yeah.
You know, that's why Lord of the Rings is still popular. That's why all those movies did well. That's why no one talks shit about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
100% character-driven stories.
Book-driven.
Yep.
And that's the thing.
Source
with George
material.
R.R. Martin, he had more story. And it's the same thing with the fucking Walking Dead, for example. They still are just beating the dead horse with doing 1 million fucking seasons, but they're telling the full story. Where with fucking Game of Thrones, like you said, I mean, think about it. Those guys were all flown around all over the fucking country doing all this stuff, these long super days and all the, I mean, like the production of that show is in fucking insane. And that's the thing why a lot of people will kind of dip out of it is because they're trying to tell the story and they're like, nah, we've already made enough money. We could run away with it. Or they're just like, I don't know. I think that they could have gone longer, 100%, you know?
Yeah, and I think they should have.
Yes.
And if they weren't willing to, then they should have let go
They
of
should
the
make
show.
the movies now.
Dude, so not only they're talking about a movie, but they're obviously doing the prequels on HBO.
Yeah.
But dude, there's a fucking petition, and this is what I wanted to get to was, so you know how they're doing, like we talked about the thing with Dexter, and they're talking about doing this with a lot of shows, and they've done it, a reboot to wrap it up a better way.
Everybody does it now.
Now that's the thing you do, right?
Yes.
The biggest petition is, dude, just redo 7 and 8 in an animated form. Like, we don't give a fuck. It could be full-blown cartoon.
Save a lot of money, yeah.
It could be full-blown cartoon, or do CGI, or not CGI, but like that Pixar style.
People
not
that
literally
stuff
Pixar,
to an
but
extent, you know,
maybe Clone Wars or whatever. Because even Clone Wars in the Star Wars shit, they use some of the actors from those movies to revoice the characters in that cartoon. So there's a lot of continuity, and it feels right. Even though you're looking at a cartoon, you still feel like, because Ewan McGregor's voice is still young Obi-Wan, like it all still adds up, right?
Right.
They could easily do that with Game of Thrones. I want to know if they're going to do anything about it, because they canceled outright one of the prequels. They were like, yeah, this shit sucks. We're
They're
not
working
doing
on
that. And so they're trying to do another one that's apparently going to launch soon.
I'm going to take a leak quick and
Cool.
I'll be right back. So,
yeah, you go to the bathroom. You guys got any questions? I know a bunch of you guys are watching. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hit like, subscribe, all that shit while you're here. If you guys got any questions, now would be a great time. And yeah, I can either answer or I can fucking read through them and talk to you guys and then ask them when Eric comes back if you guys have anything specific. So yeah, just throw that shit in chat. I could play a tune. Kind of feel like I've played this a lot, but I suppose not everybody listens to every podcast, let alone in full, right? So let's see if we can pull this off. I doubt this is going to work, but let's do this. Let's throw this up here. And I'm going to pull this open. And we'll see if we can make this bad boy work. He'll be back any minute. He'll probably be back before I even get this up. I can bet you almost $3. What's up, Aaron? Hey, buddy. Saw you were recording the other day, man. How's tracking going? Smacking some skins with Wilford. How's all that panning out? What are Eric's favorite record stores? That's a good question. I'll ask him, but my question is, what record stores even exist anymore? But yeah, I'll totally ask him that. And I guarantee you, I can already hear him coming back. Hey, Jeff. Looks like your uncle's watching. And Ellen wants to know, I have a follow-up question. She wants to know, what are your favorite record stores? And I want to know if there even are any record stores left. Yeah, go for it.
Going. You're running out? Okay. Okay. Just read these. What's my favorite record stores? Honestly, I've kind of been somewhat partial since I used to work in St. Paul to the Cheapo in Blaine. I've always loved that place. And I actually had this conversation with a good buddy about how it's getting kind of sad with the record stores right now because it is a dying breed and always has been, especially that store kind of right now has been. But anyways, I love the Cheapo in St. Paul, right on Snelling there. Those guys are awesome. I've been favoring the Blaine one. Yeah, probably my favorites. Yeah.
So that's the secret, is Cheapo.
Cheapo, I mean, here's the thing. Like, they definitely know how to have the price right to bring people in. But that's the thing. I'm such a music fan, so if I am going to spend an extra couple bucks for somebody's record, like I went and bought the new Killer Be Killed record recently, which I think is arguably next to Gojira, the best metal bands on the planet right now that are going really active right now.
Gojira's pretty cool.
Gojira's I'm a huge fan, and I think this Killer Be Killed project is so cool. I went and bought that record. You know, I mean, obviously I have other ones, but yeah, man. I think Cheapo's where it's at. You know, and Down in the Valley's cool. Down in the Valley's really cool.
Yeah, I haven't bought a CD in so goddamn long.
Mill City Sound too. Yeah. I am a vinyl collector, and so is my uncle. That's recently we went out on record store day. My uncle and my cousin.
Mill City Sound. That's got to be here in Northeast, right?
No, that one is.
Here, let me tighten that up for you. I can see it fucking with you.
Okay, it's the one. Where was that, Jeff? The Killer Be Killed record is Ann Bemidji. Yeah. Who's it? I know Aaron Lanick.
Yeah, Aaron Lanick. That's
Yeah,
fucking beast mode of a drummer.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck, forgive me, Aaron. I forget all of your bands. He's in my old band right now, Dying Euphoria.
Yeah.
He's got a million bands he's been in. He was on the podcast if anybody's curious.
I did see some
about.
of his
Yeah.
actually. Yeah. I watched a little bit of each one of
Sorry,
those,
Aaron.
so yeah.
But Aaron, dude, plug your shit in the live chat.
This is my favorite bottle of wine, by the way.
Dope.
Yeah. This is on sale right now. If you go to any Top Value Liquors, right now in the city. So,
They
yeah.
don't pay me yet.
Nah, yeah, they don't. So.
Top Value, you
Cheers,
owe me
yeah.
you owe me money for that free promo you just got, you pieces of shit.
Yeah, please give him some booze, man, for the deal. We all deserve it, and me.
Here's the thing: is like my friends, guests, all that kind of shit. People we talk about, they get free promo.
Yeah.
Actual companies and corporations, you fucks gotta pay me my money, bitch. We ain't advertising shit for free.
Yeah, and nothing's for free anymore. So.
All right, so I'm not a big wine drinker, but I actually know how I'm supposed to do this, right? You spin it just like beer, and then you smell it, then there's something about separating the alcohol you're supposed to look at when you tilt the glass, right?
I mean, if you want to.
These are all things. And then with red wine, cold wine, you're supposed to hold the stem.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Red. It doesn't matter if
Otherwise
it's red or
you're
white.
doing
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah, with most reds, yeah. And whites, you're supposed to always do like this. It's so stupid. Let me drink it like a man.
Yeah,
hold on.
you can hold that like that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, oh, yeah, you don't want to chug that, though.
I'm just kidding. Is that a cab?
Probably.
Cabernet Sauvignon?
Yeah, it's probably a cab or something red. But yeah, it's a 2017 red blend. It's a red blend, It's good stuff.
It's a red blend. Oh, here's what it is. It's 51% Malbec and 49% Cabernet Franc.
So it's a hybrid, yeah.
It's a hybrid.
They had sex, yeah. Liz, and I think your shirt, Eric, looks like Uncle Ed. That's my dad. This guy, right? Yeah.
That's your dad?
No, it's not my dad.
Oh.
Tom
it looks like your dad.
Yeah. My dad looks a lot like I do. My dad actually, in his older years now that he shaved his mustache off, looks exactly like Vince McMahon.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Have you seen any good porns lately? I'm just kidding.
Today, yes, absolutely. Yeah, we could get into that. I know how you like to throw that random question, but
I don't even think that was that funny. I'm not laughing that hard. I just fucking completely coughed as I laughed and then coughed at the same time. And that is not a good feeling to have in your body.
Yeah.
It is crippling. Oh, man.
Yeah, you're done for. Yeah.
It's going to be at least a minute.
Yeah, porn's a whole nother topic,
No, I was thinking about that the other day, though, because it was like, I don't remember why I was thinking about this. I think I was thinking about a bit or thinking
about porn.
No, about this idea, which is to do with porn, which is like when you and I were kids.
Yeah.
So literally our dad's generations, there were famous specific porno movies.
Yes.
Debbie Does Dallas. You know what I mean? Like,
which we watched them all.
Very famous.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, no one gives a fuck. It's on our phone, and the only thing that matters are the specific porn stars that you're into.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
It doesn't matter what they're in,
It's a shame there's no more art in that industry.
The art in that industry was the magazines and the VHSs and the DVDs for the time that they were
the
able
fake
to,
scenes.
So the internet ruined that for sure, Like
but
a lot of things,
Internet porn is much better than old VHS porn. And
is
even
it, though?
DVD porn.
I mean, there's
100%.
Yeah, I mean it is. Yeah, but there's definitely a kind of a
These are the most fucking random questions. What's your favorite hot sauce?
Jason Michael, yeah. Currently, yeah. Because that's also a thing of mine, and him and I know about that. But it's the Crybaby Craig's, Northeast Minneapolis.
Oh, and I apologize for not
awesome.
turning live chat on earlier.
Yeah.
For the listeners, they have no idea what we're talking about. But for the viewers, Eric can attest to this. I double and triple checked that live chat was on. And then
it did say it was on.
Yes. Uh-huh. And then when we started it, it turned off. So for the entire first hour, live chat was off. In the entirety. I had to literally go in and turn it back on.
Everybody's got to come in. Yeah.
So I apologize for that, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, Crybaby Craig's though, man. That's where it's at.
I should have played your song again. That's what I should have done. I was trying to load up this tune I've been working on.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck, dude. Because nobody had anything in there yet. Those started coming in as you were coming back down.
Oh, really?
And I was joking about that. I'm like, dude, by the time I get this song up and pulled up and playing, he's already going to be back down here.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, it's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite hot sauce? Do you ever, let me ask you this.
The Crybaby Craig's.
The Crybaby Craig's?
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Oh, you're fine. Yeah. It's in Minneapolis, man. That guy's awesome.
You watch Hot Ones?
Yes.
That is a fucking brilliant show.
I just watched The Undertaker on there the other day.
Yeah.
And I bought while I was watching it, the fucking grossest one they have on there, it's it's not the Last Dab, because I actually like the Last Dab. Like, sickly. The thing about hot sauce too is it's pure vitamin C, especially in these kind of situations where your body needs to fight off bacteria and diseases and gunk and all
Wait,
that
there's
shit.
vitamin C in hot sauces?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here. Really?
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't know
peppers,
this.
man. Peppers. All that stuff. It's all the garlic, all that shit. There's vitamin C in that. And help me out here, Jason. What best WWF
Dude,
wrestling match?
You guys, we're not,
We watched it the other day, Mankind and The Undertaker.
if we're
down
gonna
the
do
cell,
this,
you know?
at least ask hilariously provocative question. Have you
Yeah.
ever done anal on yourself? Like,
Yes.
Come on, guys, be creative here.
Yes.
I didn't actually want you to answer that question.
I did.
but
I
it's
am
out
open
there
to it,
now.
you know. So whatever. You
No,
know?
it's all
Yeah.
right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the policy is.
It's called the bomb. Yeah, that's what it is. The bomb.
Oh
That's-
yeah.
It's- Tastes like, there's nothing to compare it to. It's the worst thing that's ever existed. I got it in the mail.
Where would you put on the scale of what we're talking about right now? Where would you put that basic blazing from Buffalo Wild Wings? Like, does the bomb? Does that?
Nowhere close to the bomb, man.
So it makes it
Yeah.
look like a joke.
Yeah, I actually did. When I was a kid, I worked at B-Dubs. I did. And I saw all that shit. I saw all of that underground and what went into that. You know, I got a whole list of stories about that place. But, yeah, Blazin' is just what they do. So, like that Blazin' challenge thing, you know, and I'm going to ruin it for everybody. You know, they take the wings and they toss it in the sauce, right? And then what they do is they put lemon, squeeze it on there. And then they put it in the fucking microwave. So the reason why they put it in the microwave is to make the actual physical wing that you're going to put in your fucking mouth hot. And it coats it on there. So it's like basically kind of all the sauce is now kind of evaporating into the chicken.
Right.
And then they do it again after they toss it in sauce again and put lemon on it. Then put it in the microwave again. And then however many times they want to fucking do it. And then they bring it out to the customer. So when they get it, it's not only that the sauce is fucking hot, because it is. The fucking actual wing, when you grab it, is hot. You know? So it's like you know.
And you're not allowed to drink anything while you do the challenge?
I don't know. It's probably changed since then.
Because if
but,
I
yeah,
ever,
yeah.
which I would, I mean, come on. As much as I hope this podcast grows and it becomes successful and it does great things, like, I'm never going to end up on hot ones. But if I did, I ain't drinking no fucking milk or water on that show. The only way I would ever possibly make it through is I would bring a legitimate 6-pack or 12-pack of like a really nice, crisp, ice cold lager. And I would be fucking slamming those on there. By the time I walked out of there, I'd be fucking hammered.
Yeah.
I'd probably shit my pants like Bobby Lee. And I don't think I could finish it, dude.
It's not for everybody, you know.
But you have that? You have the bomb?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I bought it, like I said, after the Undertaker did it, you know.
Do you have any of the other ones?
I have the Last Dab.
Just that one?
And I have another one. I don't remember what it's called, but trick to the Last Dab is you can like during the day, like you say you fucking get tired after coffee, you know, and you need a little pep in your step and a little zip. Just grab a toothpick and put some of that in your fucking mouth and you wake right up, man.
Right.
You know, seriously. And I do that and I have done that, you know. But with that bomb stuff, man, no way. That stuff's disgusting. It's so gross.
Really?
It's like the epitome of rotting your insides. It's not good for you.
Like that's
you know.
that. See, and that's my deal. Is like if I'm doing hot sauce, I want flavor more than just the bragging rights of how hot it is. So were you a WWF wrestler?
Yeah, they were talking about it. I was not a WWF wrestler, but when I was a kid, I fucking loved that stuff, like everybody did.
Everybody.
So we did the whole home video stuff, and we had the old school big camcorder, and I like tried to be good at editing on VHSs.
Sure. Yeah.
Even before like any type of the small camera things and before computers and stuff,
Right.
and tried to edit it so it looked like it's its own bit with like us coming out and stuff like that. Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, 100%. You know, yeah.
I was so into the NWO era.
Yes.
And the rise and fall of Hollywood, Hulk Hogan,
Yes.
and the fucking and Sting. It was,
Dude, like 97 through like 99,
like even
in that
95.
era. Yeah,
is when
even
that
prior
shit
to
started
that.
for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a couple years older than
Yes,
you, so
yeah.
like
For me, yeah.
we probably were into it at the same age.
Yeah.
But that's 5, 6, 7 years apart from each other.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like man, if I was into that shit at between 10 and 14, then you would have been like,
Because you're 84.
you would have been between 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
You would have been 4. There's no way you can remember
Yeah.
like the nostalgia of it. And it's so funny because the way I reminisce about this sweet spot in what I believe is like the greatest thing that I ever saw for wrestling, which was the rise and fall of the NWO and all that shit.
Yeah.
My parents' generation, they're like, dude, that's cool, but for me it was the AWA, and like they mention all these other wrestlers that I definitely remember coming to the WWF eventually, but they were talking about a whole other thing, you know. And apparently fucking is it Randy Savage came from the AWA and wrestled regularly right in Menominee, Wisconsin, I believe it is, or just outside Menominee, Wisconsin. And then you had the Road Warriors that were from here, like quite literally here.
Yeah.
The Laurinaitis brothers, which their kid eventually played professional football in the NFL.
Cool.
Are you a sports fan, by the way?
A little bit. I watch the Vikings. You know, my buddy Jason in Cold Kingdom and I have been watching the Bears a lot recently. He's a avid Bears fan. And
shout out to Greg Moog, bitch.
Yeah. No,
I love you, buddy.
I watched football when I was a kid. I watched the Randy Moss era and I watched all that stuff. And then I said, fuck that shit. I'm not watching that. You know, I kind of went into like my own world, you know?
Yep.
And that was like getting out of wrestling when I was a kid, going, I'm going to play guitar. I want to be fucking James Hetfield, you know?
Yep.
You know, I want to be Angus Young, you know? And then when Brett Favre went on the fucking Vikings, me and my buddies just thought it would be a fucking good time to get together and watch this shit show, which it was. Oh my God. It was like a retirement fucking game, you know? Like it was sad, but it was good.
The second year?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. The second year
was.
It was exciting in the first year for
Yeah.
sure, but it was fun. And then, you know, and then yeah, I dabble in it still quite a bit. You know, I tried to do the fantasy stuff, but you know, I can't like. I don't know. My mind doesn't work that way, you know.
Dude, it was so wild when we sat here and did the first few Football Frenzy episodes, which I think we're going to end up picking those back up and doing those again. I just had to stop doing them because I'm remodeling to move next door.
Yeah.
So I just needed to simplify and clear the schedule until I get some logistical shit done, and then we'll reboot over there. But I was doing really well in like the daily fantasy.
Yeah.
Really well when we were doing those, and we were all talking about it, and like talking about who, and we didn't all pick the same players, but like we talk about it, and I was killing it. But I was getting my ass handed to me in like my actual leagues, like the league long, season long fantasy leagues. And then, dude, as soon as we stopped doing those fucking podcasts, dude, I stopped winning any money in the daily fantasy leagues, and I started winning in my seasonal fantasy league.
That's
and it
dumb
was
luck,
like,
you know. Yeah.
I know exactly. There's no correlation.
No,
like,
absolutely not.
It's completely dumb luck, but it was just so bizarre because, like, yeah, I don't know if I'm actually good at fantasy or not. Because, man, I go through these streaks, dude, where I'll lose 3-4 games in a row, and
You
then
bet
win
money on
6.
this shit too?
Well, on the daily, yeah, but I do like the cheap ones, like 50 cents.
Okay, yeah.
For this
So
one,
it's
$1
gambling,
for that one.
know,
Yeah, it
cheap
is.
Gambling, you know?
It's super cheap. And I'll do like $3 to $5 a weekend total, so it's nothing crazy. But then The actual league I'm in, the season long one, that's $100 buy-in.
Cool.
And then I think the winner gets like $800. It's a 12-man league, and
That's a good thing. Yeah.
I think if I get third, I get my $100 back. And right now I'm 5-7, and somehow, some way, if I win this week and one of two other guys lose, I will be in the playoffs with a losing fucking record, dude.
Good for you.
Wrap your head around that one,
it
bro.
sounds like the Vikings.
Exactly, man.
Yeah,
Did you watch that game? The most recent one against...
Oh, my God, dude. Nail biter, man. Yeah, seriously. One fucking point. As soon as that punt went down and we fumbled that, man, I'm like, no! Like, what the fuck is wrong? And then he obviously,
Dude, it was wild, man, because we should have lost that game. There was like, I keep saying in the last 5 minutes, but I think it was just less than 5 minutes. There's 4 minutes and change on the clock. And they had the opportunity to close out the game. All they had to do was keep running the football. And they had been doing it against us. We had never really stopped the run. But all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, Matt Rule just keeps calling passing plays. Keeps calling it was like I was watching the fucking Super Bowl with the Falcons and Patriots. It's like he just stopped running the football, and all of a sudden we get back down there and we score, and then we stop them again, right? Because they keep passing the ball, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go, dude, this is really gonna happen. And then that fumble happened that you just mentioned, right? And I'm like, motherfuckers, really? And then Matt Rule keeps passing the ball again, and it's like, dude, just run the clock out, like quite literally. Okay, you already fucked up once, dude. And we held him to a field goal. And I'm like, no fucking way. Right? No fucking way. I'm like, all right, I got to watch this.
They're trying to kick the longest fucking field goal of all time.
And then we took the lead, and then it was like, oh my God, Teddy made those 2 big passes. And I'm like, fuck, here we go. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, man, this is a long field goal. And dude almost missed that last field goal. I'm convinced dude might have missed his previous field goal because I've watched that replay. And like, if you watch it, that ball disappears behind the goalpost. Like, you watch it and
they CGI'd it out.
No, the fucking the yellow never disappears. The brown disappears for a moment. That's how I always see it, is like you can just tell. And it was so weird because the guy on the right held up his arms and the guy on the left looked over and like held up his arms. It just seemed like he missed that. Like, that should have been a missed field goal. So I actually was not surprised when he missed it. I was like, man, he almost...
I expected it that way.
You did? You thought he'd miss the kick?
Yes, 100%.
You really did?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I thought he was going to, but he had almost missed the one, and then another one had gotten blocked.
Yeah.
And I was like, he might miss this motherfucker.
I thought it the whole time.
I can't believe he did.
I seriously did. I'm like, I already know that's a long kick in general, but I mean, going back to the WWE, I mean, it's got to be a little bit choreographed, you know?
That's, dude, there's been some suspicious shit.
I know.
Where I'm like, I don't know, man. It's getting harder and harder to convince my friends that it's not rigged.
I am so into, like, the craziest shit possible in this world is going to happen or has happened, and it's all real. You know, like, I'm because I'm not surprised with anything in this world anymore. You know, I mean, I just really am not. So I think that, especially going into football, NFL conspiracy shit, you know, I mean, that could be a thing. You notice how Cousins all of a sudden, it looked like the past like 4 games, like he got laid for the first time. He's like, come on, guys, let's fucking go. Yep. You know, like, he's all excited now, and he's not so droopy faced about the whole situation, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Because he definitely looks sad, like, in the first half of it. Since he started with the Vikings.
No, you're right.
You know,
dude, you're right. Like, and there's 2 different Kirks. There's beta bitch Kirk,
yes,
who's scared, and when he's under pressure, he'll turn around and throw the ball behind him to a running back that's not there. Right? Like, I've seen him do this.
Yes.
And then there's Captain Kirk, which is when this dude is pissed off, like angry.
Yeah.
He's arguably the best quarterback in the league while he's in that mode. And he had such a bad start to the season that these 4 games don't even surprise me because he's sick and tired of all of the fans being like, cut him.
Could you
Get rid
imagine
of him.
hearing that? Like all over social media and shit. Like
You got
people
2
just think that-
choices. You either get defeated and like get sad and feel pity for yourself, or you put a chip on your shoulder and you use it like Michael Jordan.
that fucking Pizza Ranch money started to wear out, you know.
Dude, the reason here's why I'm still not and probably never will be 100% sold on Kirk Cousins, even if he wins the Vikings the Super Bowl. His favorite band is Nickelback, and during the pandemic, he legitimately reached out and tried to book Creed for a private concert.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's 2 major strikes on music choices, bro. Like, I get it, you're a good Christian boy, and these are non-offensive bands, but come on, dude. Like, really? Come on.
I got a good Scott
Nickelback
Stapp story, you know.
Do you?
Yeah. So Via was playing out in the middle of fucking nowhere, Wisconsin, in one of our favorite venues, the Q&Z Expo Center. If you've ever been there, you got to be there. We've played nothing but sold out shows there every single time. It's been awesome. Granted, we've always been with good headliners, but that's because Peggy, the owner, has put us on those bills, which has been awesome. But we got to play for opening before Art of Anarchy. So this used to be Scott Weiland's project, who also died on this day, which I got stories of too. But anyways, Scott decided he didn't want to do this supergroup band, which had the dude from Disturbed on bass, and then Bumblefoot, who was in Guns N' Roses, and then whoever the fuck else is in the band. But we got to get the opening slot with Scott Stapp opening. So we pull up in our van and trailer.
Not Creed.
Yeah. It wasn't
Solo
Creed.
Scott Stapp.
Solo Scott Stapp or side project Scott Stapp, right? I wish it would have been Creed. But anyways, we get to the club. We're next to this huge bus. There's this
Bigger crowd if it was Creed.
Oh yeah, of course. And we like are sitting backstage talking with all these people. Like we got like kind of like homies with fucking Bumblefoot and stuff. And we even talked to Scott Stapp, you know, and he was fucking cool.
I've heard that. I've heard he's fucking cool
totally like
to chill with and horrible to work with.
Yeah. And we make jokes that he has these giant, like, you ever watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Charlie's uncle has the fake hands?
Yeah.
Scott Stapp, when he comes up to the mic stand, it's like the biggest fucking hands on.
Really?
Yeah, it's creepy. It looks like it, oh my god, it's weird. So like we joke about it, but anyways, we open for this band, and like we go down.
What if they are prosthetic, just like out of Sunny? Like, what if they're fake, but they're
Like
just
he's-
way better replicas than in Sunny? Because in Sunny, the lawyer uncle is so egregiously fake. But what if Scott Stapp really has fake hands because he has the same exact small hands complex? Here, get a picture with me shaking your hand.
He's injecting like horse ketamine crack into his fingers, you know, like that's what it is, and they're like just blowing up, you know. It's like when you blow up a, you know, whatever, but you know, that's, I don't know. But anyways, we go and played the gig. It's cool. We had a good time, and we're like in the backstage area where the bands like can hang out, and then the main band walks out from the bus, and you go out to the stage or whatever. And we're like just got done talking to the whole band, you know, whatever. And Scott Stapp comes out with his like British manager, and he's fucking the biggest ass clown on anywhere.
The manager.
Like, the manager of the band. And Scott's not like that. He's just the biggest ass clown ever. Seriously. I'm standing there like I normally do. I like to say, hey, have a great fucking show. If I'm standing there, you know, in the situation, which I wasn't this situation, and the manager pushed me into a fucking closet because I couldn't see Scott Stapp. Like, I just got done talking to the fucking guy, and they told us we couldn't smoke cigarettes by the bus because, oh no, Scott's trying to get straight and he can't be around cigarettes or alcohol or any of that stuff. You know, it was one of those things. It was
That's either to me that sounds like it's either a great manager or an overzealous terrible manager. Like, it's one of the two. Like, you have to be in that headspace of that group.
Yeah.
And know the dynamics, and he's either being the greatest fucking manager of all time or he's being an overzealous cunt and literally abusing his power, because the more dramatic and the more he commands, the more he's perceived as being effective, right?
Yeah.
So he like creates false tasks and false authority and false need in order to justify his authority and why he's fucking there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I hear. Either that,
And that's
it's either
what it
that,
was.
It's either that or there's shit we don't know about, and it was legit. And he's like, listen, man, like I'm going to fucking kill somebody for a cigarette. That's how bad I need it. So here's what you got to do. Here's what I need you to do.
Yeah.
30 feet from the bus, I don't even want to smell it.
Yeah.
Like the last thing I can have. Because as soon as I smoke that cigarette, I want to have a beer. As soon as I have that beer, I take that shot of tequila. Once I take that shot of tequila, I'm doing fucking cocaine. And once I do cocaine, I'm cheating on my wife again.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's reality. I'm saying I actually know people that have said shit like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, it seemed so preposterous and diva-like at the beginning until I got the backstory, which like took months. You know, because I happened to be venting about it. I'm like, this motherfucker, did you hear? And they're like, yeah, dude, do you know what he's been through? And I was like, no. And they told me a story, and I was like, oh, so I'm the dick. Sorry, fuck. Now I feel like shit. You know?
One of those deals. Yeah.
But who knows? I don't know, man.
I mean,
I hate those type of managers, though. But
yeah.
But again,
I mean, the band folded, so, you know.
Right?
You know,
True.
that tells you one thing, you know, so.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Let's see, dude. We've been going, we've 2 hours?
Cousin sucks.
How much longer you want to go, dude?
However you want.
You got a heart out?
No.
You want to hang out for a little bit?
Yeah,
Because
let's hang out.
we've only been going 2 hours. Let's keep going, dude.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Usually here in this third hour is when we really start getting to the good stuff anyways. So
Cool.
So let me ask you this, dude. So you said, kind of playing juxtaposition here, I do want to hit a couple key points because we kind of been jumping around having fun here.
Yeah.
You said your mom wanted to be a musician but wasn't. And you were into the metal. But let me ask you this, like, what drew you to metal instead of, at least in the beginning, because there's somewhere I'm going with this. In the beginning, it was, you mentioned metal, specific bands, makes sense, very stereotypical, very similar to my situation. But at some point in time, you went in a different direction and joined a rock band. So before we get to the rock band thing, my question is, was anyone in your family musical, your dad, an older brother? Or were you the lone? Like, how did that happen? Like, why music in general? And then what was it specific about metal?
Absolutely. So basically, when I was a kid, my family, like when my parents were together, we used to go and visit who we're chatting about here. We used to go up to my family in even farther northern Minnesota, you know. And we'd get together, and we all loved music. We all loved all that stuff. The Guess Who, AC/DC, you know, whoever it was, you know,
sure.
we loved all that stuff.
So they're huge fans of music.
Huge fans of music. Everybody is, you know, like my grandpa is a bluegrass player. He banjo, mandolin, anything. My uncle can play anything. They all have ears. My cousins, they can play stand-up bass.
Okay,
violin.
so it is in the blood. It
It's
is in the family.
it's
Just
in-
what, not directly from your parents, but they were huge fans.
Correct.
So you were surrounded by music.
I was surrounded by it. So by the time that I wanted to pick up a guitar, like the town I grew up in, you got to like think of it this way. Like the only radio station other than the St. Cloud radio station was a classic rock radio station. The St. Cloud one was, you know, today's like 90s, because that's when it was, like, you know, fucking pop songs. So I heard Led Zeppelin more times than I could ever fucking want to hear. Leonard Skinner, all those fucking bands. And that was the only radio station. And at the other radio station that played kind of the deep cut stuff, I didn't have an appreciation for that at that point, you know. So the station that we did listen to was all like the classic rock stuff. So I heard that, and that's why I wanted to be fucking Angus Young. You know, I loved the Gibson SG. I loved like that power of rock and roll, basically. So I kind of got into that, and then that kind of slowly, like, even like going back to like the WWF and WWE things, like they had the best soundtracks, and they released out on CDs at the time. You know, they're like those guys coming out. They had, you know, fucking Biscuit and Metallica and Deftones and, you know, Coal Chamber and all those cool bands at the time. I'm like, what is this? You know? So the first time I heard fucking bum 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 dun 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 bum 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 dun dun, I heard fucking Seek and Destroy. I'm like, okay, that's it. You know, that's cool. And then heard Crazy Train and shit like that. Like just like any kid, you know. I thought that's electric guitar. That's where the heroes are. That's what I kind of want to get into, you know. So
what pulled you to metal then once you finally got into it?
I mean, probably like right around that same time, like any kid, I heard like Kill 'Em All and all that shit. But then at the same time, I think Black Label Society released what's the record I'm thinking about that has Stillborn on it? The Blessed Hell Ride.
Is that what it is?
And it's just a fucking gnarly, mean, drunken record, man. And at that same time, Pantera was doing like fucking Reinventing the Steel and stuff like that. And I heard that, and I'm like, that's mean, man. I love that mean shit. Like, the meaner, the fucking better. Get me as fucking dark as possible with that, which got me into like now, like in later years, like Mayhem and shit like that, you know. But mean music, you know, and that made me want to explore it. And I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the start of it, really. So I remember, like my parents, they owned a ceramic business up north. They sold ceramics, right? And I grew up in this house above the business, right? And one day the business caught on fire and burnt almost all of it down. And my family and I, we were forced to live in a hotel at the Ramada. And I remember at the time, this would have been like early 2000s. We watched like VH1 on Saturdays or whatever when they do like the top 10 music videos or whatever at the time. And I remember, for example, Saint Anger was one of those things. And I was one of those like early fans at an early age. Like I thought Saint Anger was cool, you know, and I still kind of do it to an extent, you know. But there was other bands like Deftones and Foo Fighters at that time that I thought, I'm like, okay, and Velvet Revolver and all those bands. I thought that shit was pretty cool because it's hard, heavy guitar rock, you know, or metal. So that kind of put me into a gravitation of it sucked me in, really, you know. Let's keep going and going further and further and further, and it never ends. It never ends at this point in my life. Like I'm into digging into bands that nobody's ever heard of and just fucking sporting them like hardcore, you know. So I guess my music horizon has never really changed, really, you know, because all that stuff has stayed the same. But good guitar tone, good rock, good fucking metal, good whatever it is, it's just in my blood, really, you know. Good tone. That's a really good thing. Tone is just so important, and it's gotten so much more important over this year with like learning the art to it, you know. A certain guitar through a certain amp with a certain pickup, with a certain guitar pot, with a certain strings, with a certain action, with a certain leveling of it, of the guitar. Mm-hmm. You know, the same thing with drums. The certain Ludwig that has the certain microphone on it that's placed at a certain way. The certain bass that's put through the certain ampeg or just plugged direct in with the certain strings like flat wounds or whatever. I mean, like I'm a super geek about it, you know.
Me too, man. And especially like you know, I'm a guitar player right now. I was a guitar player originally. I played guitar my whole life. But I was a drummer in a rock band. We talked about this. Yeah. And for the listeners or anybody that doesn't, or the viewers, anybody who doesn't know it, I used to play drums in a rock band called the Tyrants. There is a music video that we shot on this page. Cool. It's like 2.5 minutes long. We're sort of a punk rock band. I hate the punk rock like label. Yeah. Like in what people, when they hear punk rock, they're like, I don't know. Maybe it's just what I see in my head when I think punk rock. We weren't fucking punk rock. But anyways, for me, it was very interesting because I discovered this this idea that it's not about my drums or my guitar sounding good alone. So there's different ways that you do this tone concept that you're speaking of, right? And this is how I became to understand it, is like there's a way you dial in the tone. And when if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about right now, dialing in tone is like literally when you see guys turning the knobs on their amps, like we're turning different frequencies and getting it to quote unquote sound good. There's a difference between getting your guitar to sound good by yourself when you're jamming, getting it to sound good on recording, right? Which often you actually want to make it sound like shit while you're recording because you want to give your producer and your engineer and your mixer headroom to do what they need to do to get it to sound great on record. There's a whole second process of getting your guitar to sound good on record. I have such an appreciation for engineers and producers now that I understand how hard it is to get that fucking balls to the walls 5150 that sounds amazing in real life, and I can't get it to sound good when I put it into my computer.
The hands make a big difference.
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
And then there's a third one, which is dialing in your fucking amp to cut through the mix and sound good live. These are three distinct ways you should dial in your amp for most people in most scenarios. I'm sure somebody's got an exception to this rule, but I found the same thing to be true with my drums. So when I'm checking my drums, every single sound guy and every single musician, no matter how experienced they are, goes, dude, what the fuck's going on with your drums? And I go, trust me, they sound like shit right now. But wait till we all come together, and I guarantee you will come back to me and you'll go, that sounded amazing.
Yeah.
And because I specifically learned...
They're tuned well to the band.
They're not tuned well.
They're tuned well to the band is what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But I completely defy the entire idea of how to tune my drums. They're so loose. There's very little bounce.
Love loose drums, man.
Very little bounce. And they sound like shit by themselves. Yeah. But I'm telling you, as soon as the full band kicks in, if you guys got good gear, my drums, I'm telling you, man, cool. Like they sound so good. It's a fucking nice drum kit to begin with. And I, learned what heads to put on, just like you said, like what heads to put on, how to tune those heads. Yeah. Like I don't use the snare that came with the drum kit. I found a different snare, and then I had to figure out what snare head to put on that. And like all of these little nuances, and then figuring out what cymbals to get. And even my cymbal selection, like really experienced drummers who were giving me advice, kind of my mentors at the time, were like, dude, listen, those are not the cymbals for you, your kit, or your band. Yeah. Like it's not going to sound right. And so I took their advice. I bought the drier cymbals that they recommended, and I just didn't like them. I'm like, no, I need the ones that everyone says I shouldn't have and shouldn't get. Right. And fucking same guys finally seen me live, and they were like, dude, nope, do what you're doing. Like none of that is supposed to work, but you have figured out a way to make it sound so good, dude.
That side of music I respect so highly too.
It's one of my favorite things. Yeah. Because it's not just about getting on and showing how big your dick is on drums or guitar. Yeah. It's how much do you care about not just how we write music together, but do you understand as a writer and a performer how much the tone matters to the listener. That's why when people hear classic rock guitar solos, or you listen to like Hotel California and they start doing the 3-part guitar harmonies, like it's not just their playing and their writing and their idea and their note selection. It's the way they dialed in their fucking amps to get that sweet ass buttery tone that you're like, man, how come nobody can get that? Why can't we get this sound anymore? Well, because it's an art. Dialing in tone is a skill in and of itself beyond the actual playing of the guitar, but it still goes into being a guitar player and a drummer. I agree with you, man. I think this is fascinating. I love it.
It never ends. It can always get better, but then it can get too much,
Speaking of, if the listeners or viewers are watching this now or back when this replays, if you guys have any tips or tricks for any musicians, because a lot of musicians watch this shit, if you guys have any tips or tricks for different scenarios with different amp combos to get certain tones and like really make shit sound dope, if you've got some secrets and some ideas, throw that shit in the comments. I might end up doing that too. I might throw in my combo of how I like at least my the shit I use, like the heads I'm using and the setup I have. I should probably throw that in there.
You got to share the wealth, baby. You know?
Yeah, but again, you guys got to execute. You know, I can give you all the ingredients, but if you still don't understand what baking is, like your cake's not going to taste very good.
Dude, cooking in my house, you know, same thing. You know, like I'm one of those fucking making a pot of chili or some spaghetti or, you know, whatever I'm making, you know. I love grilling. I've gotten into grilling and I want to get into smoking.
You got a nice grill? Or you just use a basic bitch grill like I do?
Grill.
You got like one of them Traegers or something? Like a wood pellet?
I don't know the name, but it was my wedding gift.
Is it a wood pellet?
I don't think so. No.
What do you use for fuel?
It's propane.
Okay.
It's propane.
Yeah.
But
that's what I use.
Yeah.
Like in the grilling world, we're still basic bitch.
Yeah.
Like if people are like, you use propane, peasant. Like it's literally the most condescended form of grilling or barbecuing.
Yeah.
It's so, but I'm like, dude, it's convenient and it's cheap.
Yeah.
And all I got to do is go like this and if I season
when I cook
shit
food,
right,
I want to cook fucking food.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like
I respect the other side of it too, but you know,
and I appreciate those guys, but like, dude, it takes me all day to brew beer.
Yeah.
It takes me all day to do most activities. I can't add cooking into one of those things. I'd never get anything else done.
I think grilling's fucking fascinating though, and smoking and all that stuff. I think it's cool.
What's your favorite thing to grill?
Wings.
Me too.
Yeah, love wings. There's a total art to doing that. Like, so what we do is we throw it on after garlic, salt, pepper, all that shit on the pan. Throw it on. Let it do its thing.
You do them in a pan on the grill?
No. Start like the pre-prep, you know.
Oh, you like.
Then throw it on, and then throw it on raw. Then let it sit for a while, you know, flip it as you do it. Then you take it off the grill, toss it in sauce, B-dubs fashion, then throw it back on the grill.
Mm-hmm.
After you throw it back on the grill, then you're getting that little char to it, and then dip it back in the sauce.
Yep.
It's dope.
Dude, almost identical to how I do it. Yeah, cool. Almost identical. I don't always do the second toss. I don't always put them back on and do the second toss.
Yeah, I guess we don't all the time too, but yeah.
For me, it's discipline. So like if I'm like having fun partying and we're drinking in the backyard during the summer, I'm going to forget about them fucking wings and I'm going to almost overcook them. Yeah. So there's no putting them back on. Like I pull them out, they're crispy as fuck. You know what I do? Same vibe you do. I put them on raw. And then, or even from frozen, I swear to God, everyone's like, dude, more blasphemy.
Cool with the frozen.
More blasphemy. No, if you do it right, so you heat up the grill super hot, and
like
then you put them on
700 degrees.
Yeah, and you put them on frozen, and what happens is that ice melts and keeps the fucking chicken moist so it doesn't dry out.
Ooh, fascinating.
For real.
I like that.
And so what you do is I put them on, whether it's true raw, and I've let them thaw out, or I cook them from frozen. No one can tell the difference, and I've literally done them both at the same time. It's just a timing difference.
Cool.
But if I go raw, then as soon as they touch the grill, it's garlic salt and lemon pepper. Believe it or not, real light. Those two balance that shit out. And then if it's from frozen, I do the same thing, but I wait until the ice melts.
Notes.
If I do them from frozen, it's the same thing. You just wait till the ice melts, then you hit it with that same seasoning. And you flip them, hit the other side, same seasoning, and then you toss them in the sauce. And one of the same secrets is I use fucking basic bitch hot sauce to start with. You mix in your own butter, throw a little bit of garlic salt. Then you can start getting real creative, throwing a little bit of cilantro and lime if you really want to, or some lemon. Do whatever you want, and then toss those bitches, dude. That's a pretty solid win, dude.
And for me, hungry, man.
And for me, it's not even about the heat. Like I'm not super into the heat. For me,
no,
it's
me
flavor.
either. No, me either. It's about the flavor and how you do it. You know, you have to do it right.
Yep. Yeah, that's fucking sick, dude. We should, dude. I want to figure out a way. I gotta get some sort of legit outdoor heater. You know, like at bars, how they have the tower. Ooh, they have the tower with the like umbrella almost style thing, and it like heats from the top down, so you can just stand under it and be kind of warm. I want to get one of those for the backyard, and then have like a fire in the middle of the winter, and have one of those bad boys, and do an outdoor middle of the winter straight up Minnesota redneck grill, and just be like, fuck it, do steak or chicken or whatever the fuck we want. And it's either that, and or we do like a couple of years ago we did a garage gate. So like tailgating for a Vikings game, but we did it in the garage. So we
Cool.
pulled out the cars, we fucking pulled in the grill and like fucking set up the TV and fucking I had heaters running and shit. It was pretty fun, dude. It was pretty dope.
That's awesome.
We'll have to do something like that, dude. And yeah, we'll have
I
to
would
make
love
wings.
to, man.
We gotta
Yeah.
make wings.
You're close. Yeah, wings is where it's at, man.
Ah,
Are you out of smokes right now?
No.
Or do you got more?
Yeah.
I would love one from you if you got one.
this
You got another pack? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I won't do a podcast with one pack of smokes.
Yeah, I fucked up and came with
Mm-mm.
minimal, so.
You're good. I've learned this lesson. I'm like, yeah, because I chain smoke these fuckers, and I don't even like actually smoke them when I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
I light them. I take a few puffs. I set it down. I take a few puffs. I put it out. I light it back up. Well, when you do that, like, I'm literally probably smoking half of an actual cigarette.
Yeah.
So I burn through them just like why that's my wife's biggest thing that she talks about when she watches the podcast. If she ever checks in and shit, she'll be like, "You fucking rip through smokes on that podcast." She's like, I watch you smoke one, Jared, and then you'll put it out and immediately, without even realizing it, pick your cigarette pack up and light another one and then just set that down. And it's like, dude, that's my mother.
Since I joined
That's something in my DNA. My mom is notorious for that shit. She'll light a cigarette, set it down, the entire thing will burn out. She'll realize it, light another one.
another fantastic horror deal. Like, people talk about the scary side of the the movie The Shining, Jack Nicholson, is the fucking I can't think of her name because nobody ever can. But the chick from the movie, she's sitting there smoking, and it's like fucking Slash smoking a cigarette. You know, the ashes like all the way down there in the scene. You know, that's a scary movie, man.
Dude, did you know that the director, what's his name?
Stanley Kubrick, yeah.
Kubrick.
I think it's Kubrick.
He wanted her acting to be so authentic that he sleep deprived that poor woman and terrorized her to get her legitimately in a mentally vulnerable state.
Dude, that dude made a Clockwork Orange, dude. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised one bit.
He's
know?
a psychopath of
He
a
is a
director.
psycho. Yeah.
Like, dude,
And they were good at doing it, but that's a little hardcore on human
Yeah.
beings.
if I remember
You know?
right, she needed therapy after that. Like,
I don't think she's ever been in a movie since then, dude.
right.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
That's
sorry,
sucks,
hun,
you know?
that's not actually Hollywood. That's just Stanley Kubrick.
It wasn't just Jack Nicholson fucking you up.
Did you
personally,
hear?
know?
Did you
know?
hear that he made same thing because he did that Eyes Wide Shut, I believe. I think that's the same guy. Maybe it's a different director, but I'm pretty sure that's. If anybody's watching and knows what I'm talking about, did Stanley Kubrick? Did he direct Eyes Wide Shut as well? Because I believe he did, and there's speculation that he made Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman actually fuck in that scene.
He's a good wingman, then, you know, really. You know.
Chain smoking. I love smoking cigarettes and drinking booze, dude.
Yeah.
Whether I'm sipping like this, you know, because I'm not even buzzed yet. You know, I got that warm feeling, like, you know, because it's wine. But like,
Yeah.
I don't even have but I just love the It's like cigarettes and coffee and cigarettes. That
Oh
is
yeah, it goes
just
well together, man.
Oh,
You know?
I love it, dude.
It's spaghetti and meatballs, man. You know, it's the same deal. Fucking what I was saying is like joining the flip camp, you know. I mean,
oh yeah, we were trying to get to that. So
Yeah.
let me set this up. So it is not as absurd for you to go from metal to like via and flip, because straight up rock and roll was already in your
My
DNA
Yes.
before you ever got into metal. So it's not that absurd. How did you actually get into flip though? Like specifically, so you're already in Via, that band's doing pretty well, and then did you already know Duder, or did you run into him and meet him? Did he see your band? Like, how'd that go down?
Yeah, it's a cool story. So basically,
I'll be the judge of that. I'm just kidding. Dude.
So what happened was I worked at this guitar store in St. Paul for a couple of years. And mind you, I came from working like a job at that time where I was making like an okay living. And I'm like, when I moved to the Twin Cities, I wanted to do what was best for me, which was a record store or a guitar store, in making money aspect, so I could feel like me, because I wanted to stay completely connected with the music industry. Anyways, long story short, I ended up getting hired at this place called Groove City Guitars. This place in Snelling in St. Paul. This is the coolest fucking place. We used to serve coffee and beer to people anytime they come in. They buy. That store made $1 million every year that they were open. It was cool for a small store,
right? That's a lot for a normal business, not a major corporation. That's a big deal.
Like mostly like on Reverb and eBay and shit online, but still, we had a really good reputation. It was cool. And this gray-haired motherfucker and this bald-haired dude comes up, and I mean this in the best possible way because they're my brothers. Kai and Bryn Arns walked into the Groove City, and I thought these guys were like, who are these radioactive looking dudes? They're crazy, And
how long ago was this?
This would have been 2015.
Okay, so not that long ago, but
5
years ago?
Yeah. So I looked at these guys, and at this point in my life, I'm like, I'm ready to go to the next phase, like I do whatever it takes, I'm not desperate, but I'm ready to put my dues.
You're hungry.
So I'm hungry, and I met this guy named Kai, who is Bryn's brother, who used to, both of them from
And for
Flip,
the listeners and people that don't know, Bryn is
the lead singer and founder of Flip and many other amazing projects. And he's my rock and roll godfather, basically, he's awesome. And when I met these guys, they walked into Groove City and they started just jibber-jabbing about all this shit. They're just crazy. And Kai, his younger brother, he's telling me, he's like, I just got done doing Vampire in Time of Memory from Queens of the Stone Age's music video. And I'm going to do Asleep at the Wheels music video from Band of Skulls. And I'm like, holy shit, who the fuck's this guy? Lives out in Hollywood and stuff like that. So we started talking, and me and Bryn as people, we like, oh yeah, let's go smoke some weed or go fucking have a cigarette. And we started talking, and I was 25 at the time, so we started talking. And
that's right, because you're only 30 now.
Yeah,
like I'm just shocked, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
This dude, I think, is like, just he released this thing called the Bryn Co., which is basically he invented or repurposed these vintage radio cabinets. Like you'll see these Philcos and stuff like that had the radios in them from the 30s to the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And he gutted them and put like modern day Jensen or Celestion or Fender or whatever speakers in them, and then put a speaker cabinet or like an output jack on the back of them, and you put your guitar head on top of them and you play. And that's what he did, and that's what he sold, and we sold them at the store, and it was really cool. I got a bunch of them, and I stayed friends with this dude for a long time. And Via got to play one sec. This masquerade party at the Caboose one night. And prior to that, I'm like,
if you want to tip that down, just unscrew it and let it fall, and then tighten it up and pull it back up.
This is fine, actually.
You good?
Yeah.
I notice it falls on my guest because like
it just goes in.
Yeah. When you try to pull it down, you're loosening it, so it just drops on you guys. I feel bad. I gotta get way nicer equipment in here eventually.
I'll hook you up.
But we gotta monetize. Y'all gotta donate to the Patreon. Y'all gotta fucking hit subscribe. Go buy the Shooter Lube. Fucking 10% off.
Lube. Yeah.
10% off. You guys can see the bottle in the background if you look carefully. I think my big fat head's in the way right now, but
yeah, it is in the way.
10% off at checkout if you use the promo code SINGER.
Beautiful.
If you guys got guns and you need to clean them, it is literally the best cleaner out there.
Nice.
Shameless plug, but yeah, that's how we get better equipment in here. Y'all gotta fucking support, man. This YouTube fucking shit's a racket.
It's a world of fucking.
It's a racket. So you're hanging out with these dudes
So I'm hanging out with these dudes and
in the music store.
and I so at this time I only had Via like kind of going, and basically I wanted, like, as hanging out with this older gentleman, you know, who's my fucking one of my best friends, you know, I said, you should, and he told me about this band Flip, and I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool, you know. I knew nothing about it, and I did hear the song Freak back in the day on the radio because that was a big hit, you know. And anyways, long story short, I invited him to come play I Wish I Was a Planet, one of their other big songs, on stage with us at the Caboose. So we played this show at the Caboose, and I said, and I got a special guest, fucking Brent Arns from Flip, and he came out and we played the song Via did with him playing guitar and singing.
Sick.
And it was cool, and I'm like, okay, cool. And he left. He showed up. He looked great. He fucking left, and that was it. You know,
Showed up, did his job, went home.
fucking left. It
Pro.
was all publicity,
Like a
all
pro.
fucking cool. He's pro as it can be. He's the coolest. And he came out and we did this, and years went by. You know, no. Let me reback this. Years did not go by. At this point, people then all of a sudden were like, okay, so you're bringing Bryn back to like do this Flip stuff. And I never forget this. Like, I was downtown at the Poorhouse, and for whatever reason, Bryn called me and he said, I'm trying to figure out this stuff, but I think I should do Flip again. And I'm like, yes, you should. 100% Bring this back.
%.
Yeah, the wine's talking, baby. You know?
Yeah, buddy.
And I said, do Flip again, because the bands nowadays, like, you can live off of the 20-year anniversaries and the 10 anniversaries and all that stuff, but release new music, bring it back, do the thing. You know, you're not dead yet. You know, just fucking do it. You know, so he did, and I said, when you do the first show, let me open for you. And he's like, okay, cool. So July 1st, 2015 or 16, something. I think it was 2016. He got to do the welcoming reunion back of Flip at First Avenue, and Via opened the show with I almost said 21 Pilots, but it's not them. But whatever. I can't think of the band's name, but anyways, so we got on the bill.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, Imagine Dragons. Yeah, and it was the coolest. They came back, sold out the fucking First Avenue. It was my first time playing First Avenue. Prince just died at this point.
No shit.
So it was crazy because First Avenue was crazier than ever at that point.
I've still never played that stage. It's the only stage in town that I've wanted to play that I haven't played.
It's the best, man.
It's the only one.
And they fucked with us too. They fucked with us too. They were like, they knew we were super green, so they just cranked the fucking monitors and made it sound like shit on stage too. It was hilarious. They knew that we were green going into it, and we were scared playing into it, which was hilarious. But anyways, so we played the gig. It was cool. Flip does their whole, you know, the whole band comes back together. And Bryn and I have always stayed friends. We've always talked. We've always FaceTime. We've always been close together.
And this all just blossomed out of running into this dude when he came into your music shop.
Correct. So last around this time, Bryn started talking about, I think you might be a good fit to be in Flip.
Sick.
And I'm like, man, I don't think so, man. I really don't think so.
Is he still doing the half black, half white
he hasn't
face
done
paint?
It. He hasn't done it since the late 2000s.
So so there's no pressure on you to do any of the face paint or any of that.
No,
shit
no,
then?
that's his deal. You know.
And he's not doing that anymore. So
from what, don't quote me on it, but I think he's waiting for the right time. You know, and
I already know what that means. We can move on.
Yeah. So I got to go and do a side gig with him. Like, I handed him his guitars off just as a buddy. So, you know, like, you hear if a guitar string breaks, you know, I'm handing you a guitar, you know, kind of thing. And that was the last time Flip has played a live show, technically, to the open audience. You know, the open
no
fans.
shit.
It last December, last January, something like that. And I mean, they're older dudes, you know. They're fucking they're on the ball, and they're super fucking cool. And
Well, a pro's a pro.
yeah.
Like when you're a real pro, it doesn't matter if you're 16 and green, and it doesn't matter if you're fucking 60 and mean. Like when you're a pro, you're a pro.
Yeah.
Like it's a mindset, man. It's a discipline. It's an approach. It's a thought process. It's a conscious effort and care and an appreciation. You know, something that I've talked about with even bigger bands, right? Yeah. Like bigger bands than anything I've ever done. I'll lecture them because I'm friends with them, close friends.
Yeah.
And we'll be hanging out backstage. And like the guys in the band, I can see them moping around.
Yeah.
And they're like, how was it, man? And I was like, it was pretty fucking good, dude. And they're like, dude, come on, man. Like, and you know, you hear everybody else cheering them on. Yeah, great show, fucking awesome, man. Reminded me of the
digraphic, you know.
And here's the thing is like I know why they're unhappy. Yeah. And so the conversation eventually comes up and I'm like, listen, man, here's the deal. Like the reason you're unhappy with that show is because you know you didn't put everything into it. You've lost your appreciation for the privilege to be on stage. For example, every time I step on stage when I was a drummer, no matter how fucking physically exhausted I was, I would push myself physically no matter how good of shape I was in. If I didn't almost puke, I didn't work hard enough during the show. So I would start off strong, and as soon as in the middle of that show, towards the end of that show, when I would feel that deep fucking, let's just get through this. No matter, because again, I would, no matter how conditioned I was, I pushed myself as far as I could physically to put on the best show I could. And when that moment happened, I would just dig deep and I would go, dude, do you have any idea how many people would die and kill to be right here, right now? So you aren't tired. You got more in the tank, bitch. And I'm literally saying this mid fucking song. We're playing, everything's happening. And I feel it. I can see myself sitting, not playing the drums. I'm sitting behind the drums.
Yeah.
And I'm hitting them, but I ain't playing them anymore. I go, dude, this could literally, this next snare hit could be the last snare hit. And I'm not trying to be dramatic. I actually say this to myself.
So true, dude.
And I've actually had this, and I've lectured bigger bands than me. Like, dude, you don't understand the privilege you have. There's motherfuckers that paid to be here tonight, bitch. Like, it doesn't matter that there's only 250 people here and you used to draw 2,500. Fuck off. That's still 250 people that decided your fucking music is valuable enough for them to find a fucking babysitter, take a night out of their fucking busy lives, pay you to come watch you perform your fucking art. That's a big deal. And this could be the last time. No one ever knows. And I'm not trying to be like, you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Obviously, that's also what I'm saying. But that's not really what I'm getting at.
It's not what
your band could break up tomorrow. Like, literally, you could be in the middle of a set. Your snare drum breaks.
Yeah.
And you're not the headlining band. It's your second to your last song. Your snare drum banks, you don't have time to switch snare heads or go even into your road gear unless you got a fucking badass tech on it and you just keep banging through that. I've done this. Bang through that shitty fucking snare drum because it ripped and you just keep going and somebody sees it and they walk up and they literally will look at you and we coordinate it and they'll rip your snare out and drop theirs in or your spare in and you just got to figure out how to improv and just play your beat without that snare drum and just give this motherfucker 4 bars. And in the music I play at 184 bars is like, you got 5 seconds, you know, like it's quick, but you do that and the show goes on. Unless you're set up for that exact moment, when that snare breaks, you're basically done for the night. Sorry guys, fucking equipment broke. We're not going to have time to switch this out. It's the end of our set. Next band's coming on. We're not eating into their set time. Have a good night. The next day, your fucking singer tells you, hey man, my wife's pregnant again, dude, I can't afford to do this. I have to quit. He's the band, right? You lose your fucking singer, primary songwriter, boom, your band's done. And you never find the next band. And you didn't appreciate the fact that that was your last show. That was the last time you hit that snare drum, bitch. So that's what we have to understand and appreciate. And that's a professional mindset is my point. Because when you get to that level and that level of appreciation, you've already probably practiced, rehearsed, refined, made sure your songs are good. Like by the time you get to that level of I give a fuck, you've already crossed off a lot of really good boxes to get there. And it's fine if you don't feel that way right now. I'm not lecturing anybody or talking down, but at the end of the day, what I'm hearing from you and what I'm hearing about these guys is that, and from you about yourself is what I'm discovering is that you guys are straight up pros. And just being big, just being like Flip was a big famous band. Like they were known beyond Minnesota. You know, they were a huge legit band. And that doesn't mean you're a pro.
Yeah.
It's how you approach the craft. That's what matters.
There's a lot of ways to go into the whole fucking process. I mean, it's just like any job, you know. I mean, you have to look the part, you have to fucking play the part, you have to have the everything. I mean, here I couldn't say it. You couldn't say it better yourself. Hats off to you, man.
Thanks, bro.
You're welcome.
Thanks, bro.
You know,
and it's important that people understand that.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not going to tell you if you don't feel this way, if you don't think this way, then get out of the way and stop taking stage time from big bands. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But don't be that guy in a band who your complacency and your lack of passion and professionalism is holding that band back.
Yeah.
And if you're in a hobby band, don't bring in a guy with the fire and drive who wants to be pro, because he's going to start pushing the band. And if you're not down with that, either he gets kicked out or you get kicked out. So understand what your band is when you get started and make sure all the band members are on the same fucking page, bro. Because my biggest advice to people is if you want to make it, just don't quit. Don't let your band break up. Don't take too much time off. It's basically building a snowball. And you got to go uphill to build that snowball. And then once you get to the top, you can just let her roll.
I used to think time was really a big thing. And I still do.
What do you mean?
Like time, like
how much time you've been a band?
Yeah, and how much time you're putting into it. And like in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s. I used to think that a lot of that did matter, and I still do think a little bit of that matters based off of your juice, but some of that does not matter. And with joining Flip, I've really realized that doesn't matter. Granted, I don't want to sit around and everybody wants to be a fucking rock star. I get that, you know, but that does not happen without the fucking art and without the passion to do it, you know, and maybe I don't sound like Paul Stanley here, do I? You know, it's just like, I know what I want, you know, and I'm not going to fucking.
What is the passion? You know, for me, that's what I meant when I said like the appreciation and understanding the privilege. Like there's so many people that wish they could do what we do the way we look at stand-up comedians. Like everybody would love to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
But we can't. We all can't do that. Like no matter how much some of us try, some of the funniest people in the world can't translate it to the stage. It's a privilege to be born with the ability to hone that into that kind of skill. Because you don't really have a choice. You can do a lot with hard work.
Yeah.
And perseverance. A lot. However, you still got to have some talent, right?
Yeah, you can't just suck when you go do it, man.
Right.
You know, yeah.
And so
you're not unless you're fucking Sid Vicious, you know. Yeah.
True.
But that different times, you know.
Touche.
Yeah.
But there's literally I guarantee you, over 1 billion people on the planet that have worked for years and years to get better at being a guitar player hypothetically,
Yeah.
and put together a band, and they've still never played out. There's people our age.
Crazy.
This is
dude.
still their
It's
dream.
Crazy,
and
man.
because people in our situation who've had a little bit of success start to fail to recognize the significance of just getting to where we've gotten. So just putting a band together is hard as fuck. Writing enough songs to do a 40-minute set of original music and then getting a gig is extremely difficult. And then building a fucking big enough of a following to where other musicians at your level and above you respect you enough to have you come work with them and open for them and play with them, and bookers start putting you in front. Dude, there are millions and millions of bands that have never played in front of more than 15 or 20 people. The privilege we've had of being put in front of huge crowds is so insane.
Everybody's replaceable, It really kind of seems like that.
So appreciate it, right?
100%.
And the pros do,
So
and that's what I'm
fucking
getting
hats off to anybody and myself, and you, and just I'm not a religious person. I do have some religious tendencies, but I fucking definitely feel, for what I can, blessed for what I have accomplished, because it's me, but it's also my fucking work and the stuff that I put into this stuff. I mean when in 2015, like when I got to meet, these cool fucking older dudes, I never would have thought 5 years later that I, would be in a band with them, but how fucking cool is that? I think it's awesome. They're so cool to be a part of, and to be able to still do my other stuff with it. It's awesome. I got a lot on my plate. I know that, and it's a very much a transitional period.
Well, I think it's just a testament to the idea that if you just keep doing it long enough, and again, it's not even about your actual talent on the physical instrument. It's your appreciation and passion for perfecting your craft. Yeah. And then just being an overall cool dude, right? That's where I really fucked up. That's why I am not dramatically farther in my music career, is because
you fucked up.
Yeah, somewhere between like 22, maybe even 20, as young as 20, and like 26 to 28, somewhere in there. So as much of an 8-year run, I became a total piece of shit. Like, I actually developed and we named my alter ego. His name's Jared Lee Roth. And
Fuck.
Sometimes I refer to him as my demon. It's not my demon. It's just this high adrenaline, high sense of self. That
You're
is
saying you're high.
I was very high on myself. And when Jared Lee Roth shows up, I become completely self-motivated, self-centered, all of the self. Like, I'm so oblivious to the impact around me. And I discovered that was a symptom of being a lead singer.
From the lead singer at the time?
My first few bands, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And once I got off of that, it took a while, but I was able to put Jared Lee Roth to bed and just be another musician at the show.
Yeah.
And then it's taken me virtually 10 years, so somewhere between 26 and 28 to 36, for people to finally go, oh, so he's not actually a piece of shit. He was just a dick back then.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So as long as you don't do what I did and you do everything else we've talked about, you can have a lot of success, as long as you just don't quit, really. Just be a cool dude. Keep working hard. Appreciate it. Like, work hard at the craft and be a professional in your mindset and your approach, and you'll be fine. I think when we do appreciate it, it's because we've seen so many more talented musicians that deserve it almost more than we do, but they didn't make it. Like, they did so much less than us. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, there's a big world of people out there, and we've all clearly met a lot of them, you know, at this point, and researched and done a lot on them all, and it can end just like fucking that, you know. And
I mean, look how fast COVID showed up and just shut down the entire idea of going to a live concert.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing Friday? Oh, I'm going to this concert. My buddy's fucking
Nope.
My buddy's girlfriend is opening for this huge band. I'm gonna go check them out. Nope.
It's a weird world,
with
man.
that, bro.
Yeah. It's a
We
weird
ain't
world.
doing that shit anymore. Dude, here's what I think we should do. I think we should play that song again, because not everybody that's watching now is watching was watching then. We'll wrap up some plugs, because we're coming on 3 hours right now.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to touch on before we do that?
I think a couple things. I don't think we should play the same song. I think we should plug, because we did do that. We went into a section of that. We should plug two things.
You
First.
can plug anything you want, bro.
Yeah.
You're the guest.
Butt plug everything, whatever. You know?
can
Yeah.
plug whatever you want, bro.
I think we should plug first what I'm kind of like getting myself into with these hometown heroes, and not even hometown, because they're old school pros that toured the world, you know. These flip dudes, you know. They did a cover that got them on the map of the My Generation video. You got to see this.
Should we pull it up?
Oh yeah, play it.
Okay.
Play that shit.
Let's see if we can get out of here without crashing everything.
I think that would be cool.
All right. Let me go to actual YouTube, because right now we're in our little studio. What should I search?
Flip My Generation. This is one of the first things that I ever saw that they did, and I thought it was...
Is this new?
No. This
Okay.
is from like 1994.
Wow.
But they shot
okay.
on a little video camera.
This guy?
Yep. This is them. It's so cool. It's so fucking beyond cool. dude is pretty good.
All right, what else should we pull up?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's pretty good, man.
Well, you said you wanted to plug two things.
I don't have it on YouTube. That's
Oh, you got audio?
I do have another thing that I'm kind of been working on. But
Save it
it's
for
not-
next time.
Yeah, we'll save it. For
Let's
next
save
time.
it for
Yeah,
next
yeah,
time.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you, dude. Eric
Thanks,
Vobejda.
dude. Yeah. Thanks.
You're a beautiful human being.
You too,
You're a
man.
weird motherfucker, and I love it. God, you're a beautiful dude. Not in a sexual way. Maybe in a sexual way, but
Yeah, sure, whatever.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for watching the podcast. If you guys like it, subscribe, hit that like button like it owes you money. Like, really hit it, like, hard.
This dude's awesome, man. Check him out, man.
Thank you guys for supporting the channel so far. It's been amazing. This has been a fucking blast. We're growing. We're meeting new people. We're having new guests on. Couldn't do this without you guys. Seriously, if you guys weren't subscribing and liking and watching, nobody else would come on, for real. So wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. I really appreciate it. All his links that you guys need are in the description, and don't forget about the sponsorship. So we got the I'm obviously sponsoring my own show, so go to patreon.com/JaredSingerLive. Join. There is extra content in there now. There wasn't when we first launched it, but there is now. And Shooter Lube. Go to shooterlube.com if you need to clean your guns. This shit really is the bomb. Singer is the promo code. I've been drinking, you guys. This is a horrible fucking promo read. I was supposed to do a review, but my buddy that I timed it with had a COVID thing, so we had to reschedule. So that's why I'm not doing a formal read for it. But the code is active, so go to shooterlube.com, hit Singer and checkout, and you will get 10% off. But here's the real key: is you will earn me a 10% kickback to help support the podcast financially. So that's all I gotta fucking say. You guys know what the fuck's going on. Thank you so much. We're done. We're done.
Cheers.
It's always the outros. It's always the outros that are awkward. See, and now this stupid thing. There we go. It's not even working. I just played all of the outro music. It's not even working. Let's try this one more time. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. It's not working. I bugged out my system. That sucks. That's not even the right one. That's the original fucking...